some like background. Yeah.
Hey, friends, come closer. We don't
Back row
fight.
Joes. You guys scoot
I
up
would
for
say
us.
from Christy and Aaron, everybody behind has to move forward. So Christy and Aaron, well done. You get to stay where you are. I saw the panic. She was like, really? I really like this seat.
It's like if we're spending this much time together, we kind of
Get close. Awesome. 12:01. Welcome to Ignite, friends. Raise a hand, show of hands, raise your hand if this is your first Ignite. Awesome. Awesome. And anybody been in here more than 2 times, raise your hand. Okay, so we're looking at first timers and second timers, really. Okay, awesome. Oh, isn't that much better? You smell each other. COVID's over, guys.
Midday
We're
must.
good.
Most lunch naps starting to set
Still
in.
nobody wants to be here though.
I fit a little bit.
Yeah, good thing. Flash zone. Awesome. So welcome. If first off, let's go around the room and see who we're talking to. Let's start with Sheila. Sheila, I want to know your name and how long you've been in real estate.
Sheila Johnson, August will be 5 years.
August, 5 years. Fantastic.
Clayton Carson, about 2 weeks ago is when I passed my test, so yeah.
Yes, awesome.
Justin Long, I've had a license for a while, but really haven't had anything, so.
That's okay, that you're here today. Aaron,
Karen Kennedy, since September of 21.
awesome.
Jacqueline Thompson, a little bit over 2 months.
Jeff guys got less than 6 months.
Watch for him, guys. He's gonna be the rookie of the year this year. I can guarantee it.
Think so?
I do.
How much money you want to put on it?
$100.
Bet.
Don't let me down.
I won't.
Christina DeAndrea, I'll be a year in July.
Awesome.
Christy Rowe-Trammell. I was in real estate 25 years ago for 2 years. Then I had kids and was a mom. Now I got back into real estate last July.
Corey Jets, and I have been in real estate since November.
Hi, Carrie Tennis, on the corporate side for like 23 years. In this setting, 2.
Awesome.
All right.
Awesome.
Kristen Jackson, and I have been here for about a month.
Good stuff. Well, thank you guys for all investing in yourself and taking the time to be here. My name's Shanna. I have been here, I lose track, somewhere between 7.5 and 8 years, long enough to not know any better. Started on a large team with our group as just an executive assistant and worked my way into becoming an agent, being an agent on a team, and now I'm the productivity coach. So if you don't know me, let's get to know each other because I promise we have a lot of fun in our group, right guys? Woo woo. Yep, okay, I thought so.
Big energy.
Right, it's Monday, guys, I totally get it, and I'm hungry. Hope you all ate because you're gonna be here for a little bit. I would like to introduce our guest today. This is Wes Litton. Wes, you have been with Keller Williams for how long?
7 years.
7 years, and you did real estate.
A little
You
bit.
kind of like were raised in real estate.
Yeah, dad. So my mom was an agent. She was a miserable agent. And then my dad was an
Great at the
investor.
time though.
My dad was an investor. This is how bad it was. My dad was an investor that didn't use my mom as an agent. Like, come on, right?
Okay.
Yeah, so, but she sold here and there, basically to pay my way through private school. So that was cool.
Enough,
And
yes.
then, yeah, dad's been in real estate, lost it all in 2009, built it all back, whole story.
So you saw it.
Oh, yeah, I've seen
You
the
were
really
in real
ugly
estate,
side of
but you were
this.
in it at home. I get
Yeah.
that. Okay, cool. Wes is also one of our investors here at the Market Center. So how many investors are there? Like 8?
There's a handful, yeah, roughly 8, but yeah,
Okay.
4 primary.
Okay, yep. And he also runs one of our larger teams here. It's Litton Keats Real Estate. And you guys produce how much per year?
We'll be about 300 this year.
And your team consists of about how many people?
11.
11.
Mhm.
Awesome. Something else about Wes that you don't know is he is a genius when it comes to investing and wealth building and has taught me an immense amount in the small period of time that we got to work together. I've got nothing to show for it yet, but at least I know what I'm supposed to be doing that I'm not doing.
Yeah.
So we're getting there. We're getting there. Ignite. welcome. This is really start to finish real estate. We're gonna take you through a wild ride for the next 20 sessions. We'll be sending out extra invites for things. There will be a graduation at the very end, and I promise it will be fun. And I would say, take everything you can. We have unique guest speakers speaking to things that they are masters of. The best part is, yes, the content is here and it's written, but they put their own flair on it. They give you their own enrichments, their own tips and tricks to success. And it's what really makes each speaker unique. So you will go in 20 different sessions through Ignite, and it will be different every single time. The other thing is the successes that we'll speak about, the daily successes, are the activities. They're the activities of what it takes in real estate to get you from point A to point B, right? It's the contacts. It's really just the contacts.
It's the
Everything,
contacts.
it is all the contacts. Okay, so we'll go over specifics as far as what we call our daily successes. Our daily successes are gonna be role playing, which is conversation practice, conversations, two-way conversations, with your voice, handwritten cards, 10-5-1 social media engagement, which we'll go through that. It's really 10 comments, 5 messages, 1 post. These activities, if you do them, plus the enrichments that they give you, are what's going to take you from not producing or slowly producing to really getting the job done. Cool. Guess what? There's a little bit of accountability with it too. So I'm not just going to say, hey, go do this. You're going to get an email from me every night asking you to report your numbers, and what your numbers it'll all be outlined in the email, but 0 is a number. And it's just as important as hitting the goal. You have to acknowledge if you didn't do it, and it's okay, because you got to grow through it. Right? True?
Oh, yeah.
True. Awesome. Who's got handwritten cards in front of them? Everybody? If you don't, we'll get them to you. You will get handwritten cards every day that you're in attendance. You will then get those replenished when you give us the handwritten cards to mail off for you. So you're getting the cards for free, you're getting the postage for free. All you got to do is come up with the person that you want to say something to. Give me a couple examples of who you could write handwritten cards to. Jacqueline, I know you're dying to say something.
I actually have a guy in Alaska that I need to mail out to today.
Right?
His neighbor wants to buy his property.
Okay, so yeah, cool. Do that more. What else? What are other, for those of you guys who've done this before, who did you write handwritten cards to? There's 4 of you in here. I know it.
Friends and family.
Friends and family, your sphere of influence.
Past clients, people that you've met that are in other areas thinking of moving, that have just kind of, decided to wait, just a reminder, that type of thing.
Carrie, who would you send a handwritten card to?
I'm gonna send it to, I'm new to Keller Williams, so I'm just gonna send it to everyone and say, hey, I've switched places.
Yeah, check me out. Yeah, I like that.
I need to let everyone know I moved, but I haven't yet.
Perfect opportunity.
Yeah,
It really
absolutely.
is. It really is. Why do you think handwritten cards are part of this?
It's more personal.
It is. And do we get a lot of snail mail? No, we don't. And so are we going to open it? More than likely. So it goes a long way. A handwritten note can go a long way, just like somebody might do a holiday card. That will go a long way with people. I just had an agent come to me the other day and was like, oh my gosh, I sent out holiday cards and they called me magically to list their property. I was like, it wasn't magic. You did the activities. So well done. Awesome. I'm going to put this over to you now, Wes. Guys, this is interactive. The more you engage and play all in, the more you get out of it, I promise. Okay, and nobody wants to come up here for 2 hours and talk at people. So he's very engaging. So give it right back to him. Okay.
Woohoo.
Awesome.
Let's do it. Thank you, Shannon.
Thank you.
All right, friends. We are here for a while. Are you ready? We're gonna jump right into it. There's really like 2 big rules that I have whenever I teach a course. So I'd ask that you guys follow these with me. Number 1 is everything stops for a contract. So if you have a buyer or a seller who's like, hey, I want to write an offer, or you're negotiating something, you can get it under contract, please get that done. Like, please. Don't let this little bit of education cause you to not make money this month, okay? So that's number 1. Number 2, when the participation's high, you guys get way more out of this. So interrupt me, ask questions. I don't care. Like, you aren't going to throw me off. I have printed materials and a PowerPoint to keep me on track. So ask questions. I've done it and I've seen it all. I've done some of the stupidest, hardest, dumbest commercial deals you've ever seen, all the way down to selling burnt down houses. I've helped buyers get in for 0 down. I've had buyers who pay cash for $1 million. So whatever you've ran into in real estate, I have too. And I want to make sure that you guys don't make the mistakes I did when I was in those situations. So feel free, number one, to interrupt me at any time with questions, comments. If you like something, if you want more explanation on something, please let me know. I have 64 pages of content in 2 hours. That's a lot of content. Like, that's a ton of content. So with the books or the materials you guys are tracking with, I want you guys to know that I am not going to probably pause to fill out every blank. If you are a pauser and a blank filler outer, please let me know and I will get you the answers and I will go back if we need to. However, I'm probably going to continue to try to keep pace. That way we can get through most of this and keep you guys in kind of the 4-hour time period, because that second half is when we're going to talk about activities. We're going to do some activities together. And then of course, I'll give you any of my pro tips on the handwritten notes. We send out 3,000 handwritten letters a week right now. Wow. Yeah, it's pretty awesome. We built a whole business around it. So there's a lot of really cool stuff that we can do with the materials you're going to learn today. I'm also a walker, so this is going to be a problem. All right, friends, here we go. Ignite. Session 1, spark your career. Make sure you're, oh, of course, it's not going to work. Got it. Come on, baby. Oh, wow, the whole PowerPoint's not working now. There it is, hold on. Oh, we're on, okay. All right, we don't have a TCPA thing in here, but I have it in mind. The Telephone Protection Care Act or some dumb crap. Don't mass text message people that haven't agreed to your terms of service. Don't use a multi-line robo-dialer to make phone calls. Don't just drop voicemails to people that haven't agreed to communication standards with you, or else you'll be sued and you'll lose. Okay, cool. All right, handwritten
Sorry,
letters.
you say, don't even leave them a voicemail, or we said?
Ringless voicemail.
Oh.
Yeah, no mass ringless voicemail without their consent. Yep. By the way, though, handwritten notes don't have any sort of like do not call list or TCPA compliance. So you can send as many of those as you want. And there's plenty of services out there that'll do it for you too. All right, so the first thing, yeah, we're gonna ignore that. Here we go. So this is the basic model of Ignite for you guys. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to establish ourselves as the real estate expert. I highly disagree with the word expert, just so you guys know, there's very few real estate experts. Even real estate attorneys pretty much only know like 12% of all there is to know inside of real estate. So there's no such thing as a real estate expert, but there are real estate professionals. So we are going to establish ourselves as the real estate professionals. A good example of a real estate professional is someone who says the phrase, I don't know, but I'll find out for you. Right? Keep that in your back pocket. I use that like every time I meet a client. I don't know, but I can find out for you. Right? I don't need to know everything about the construction of a home. I don't need to know everything about a perfect marketing strategy for a home. Hell, I barely know how to use my own CRM, right? We're learning together in this. But what I do know is how to get people the answers they need. I know how to negotiate real estate and I know my documents, right? So we're going to establish ourselves as the real estate professional. This is going to say expert, but I like professional. Next, we're going to jump into lead generation. So these are the modules of the course that are going through. So today we're just the first section of real estate expert. Once we're done with the 4 and expert, we're going to jump over to lead generation. I want you guys to know one thing about this business is you actually have 2 businesses you're running. You have the actual like real estate side, which is like the customer service and the contracts and the negotiations, you have that side. And then you have the lead generation side. That's your marketing and your prospecting. Those are very different skill sets. So in other words, I might take someone onto my team who is extremely good with customer service, right? But if I put them on a telephone, they can't get a conversion. If I put them into a networking space, they have a really hard time making new contacts and gathering clients. Yet, if I have a client and I hand it to them, they're extremely good at servicing that client and negotiating a contract. As an individual agent, we do both of those things, right? We have to be extremely good customer service and legal wise in terms of our negotiations. At the same time, we also have to go out here and go recruit clients, right? So you have 2 main jobs. The first is customer acquisition. The second is customer conversion. Conversion is where you take the customer and you turn it into a client and make money, right? The first is when you take a contact and you turn it into a customer. So we want to be very clear. Lead generation, if all you were good at was lead generation, you'll make $1 million in this business. Easy, simple. Am I wrong? It's the hardest part. So many real estate agents are so good with handling a client, but they have no idea how to get a client. So really cue in on the activities and on that lead generation section. I think if there's any one thing that you could master, it's getting listing leads. If there was anything for you to master, it's getting listing leads. I think that's page 89 in the red book. By the way, I left it in my office, but you're gonna hear me say things like the red book or the MREA. That's Keller Williams-isms for the Millionaire Real Estate Agent book. It's the #1 best-selling book in real estate sales, written by our very own Mr. Gary Keller, Jay Papazan, and Dave Jenks. Dave has passed since, but he was a legend, right? And that book was comprised by those men going out across all brokerages across the United States to all the top producers and interviewing them about the best practices. And one of the things that routinely comes up as the #1 most important thing in a real estate agent's business is the number of seller leads they capture, right? So that's friends and family, that's strangers, that's internet, that's Facebook, I don't know, whatever you want it to be. #1 most important inside of lead generation is the number of listing leads that you capture. And that sounds like way more complicated than what I'm actually saying. It's just the number of people you meet that need to sell a home that would choose to use you, right? So that's all I'm really saying is like go out and meet as many possible humans and make friends with them and convince them to sell houses with you in a loving manner, in true authentic relationship, not like used car salesman. Which, by the way, I have to say this, I had one of the best moments of my career on Friday night. I had a listing appointment. There's a call into my office as a referral from a client. A past client referred them to me. Okay, that's confusing as hell, sorry about that. But we showed up Friday, it's just me. And I knew the client that referred, and he's like good old boy status. And when I mean good old boy, it's like the overalls, no shirt, good old boy, you know what I'm saying? And so I go on the appointment, and it's just a 3-bedroom, 2-bath, 3-car, north side up in Twin Lakes. I walk in and I'm like, this is not a good old boy. So here we go. And I'm in shorts and a t-shirt because I figured it's a referral type situation. But here we are. I brought like a very basic packet. The first thing that happens when I walk in the door, shake Randy's hand, he brings me to the back table and he opens a drawer in the kitchen and he starts throwing down all the listing presentations from all the other agents he's interviewed. He had 8 of them. 8. I was number 9. I didn't bring a printed listing presentation, but we got the listing. And it was really interesting because what Randy said was something that I was like, oh man, that you could preach on that, right? And it was, you were the only agent that walked in here and cared more about me than about the commission. And I was like, well, thank God, because I'm in shorts and a t-shirt and didn't bring a listing presentation. And I thought this was a slam dunk, come list me, and it was not. But he had Patrick Murray. He had a couple from our office here. He had the Reward team. He pretty much had every large sales team and had literally their like top people out. And so I was like sweating. And when I say sweating, I mean, literally there was sweat rolling down my back. And I was like, oh no, I completely underprepared. And in that moment, I sat there and paid attention to Randy. I didn't pay attention to whatever the heck I needed to say to be a real estate agent. We converted the client. So that's that lead generation piece. That's that client conversion piece. The next is lead follow-up. So we don't convert everyone directly into a client. Lead follow-up then becomes really the true way you make money. So we get a lot of people in the top of the funnel, right? So let me draw this for you guys. Sorry if my voice dies. I taught a lot last week and we're struggling getting it back. So your business as a salesperson is a funnel, right? We kind of understand that. Like we have to like meet people and walk them through this process to help them sell their house, right? So that's essentially what this is. We're establishing ourselves as the real estate professional. We're then doing lead generation, right? We're bringing leads in. I'm going to put lead generation on that, or LG. If my handwriting is illegible, unlegible, not readable, I'm sorry. Those arrows represent different things, different forms of lead generation. Give me a couple of different forms of lead generation.
Open houses.
Open house, all right. What else?
Calling.
Calling, yeah. I don't know how to draw a phone, so I'm just gonna put a pound sign.
Door knocking.
Door knocking, all right, cool. So we're gonna go ahead and just assume that you guys are in activity, right? Because if you think about it, if our business is a funnel and you're not in activity, there's nothing going into the funnel, right? So we're in activity, we're meeting people. And now these are very like manual go get them. It might just be like you talk to the people you already know. Or for me, like I play golf, not well, but I play golf. I talk to the guys that I golf with a lot, right? And I golf with the same people regularly. My wife is in kind of like this cool Bible study book club. And so they do their Bible study book club consistently, and she's a good partner of mine in this. And so she brings leads too. So it doesn't have to be anything fancy. It can just be you doing what you do. You bring them into the funnel, and the first thing you're going to do is determine whether or not they have a real estate need, right? We know 1 in 7 people have a real estate need right now. That's kind of the average according to the National Association of Realtors. 1 in 7 have some sort of need. Whether they do business with you or not, to be determined. But basically 1 in 7. So right here, we're going to qualify. Or I'm going to put pre-qualify, PQ. Pre-qualifying is simply this. Do you have a real estate need? Do you actually own a home? Are you going to buy a home? It's all the basic questions. What's your timeline? That kind of thing. So we're going to pre-qualify. And then we'll have an appointment, right? And then we'll sign. Because we always work from written agreements. Never assume someone's your client. We always sign them to a written agreement. And then from there, we're going to, I don't like the word sell. So I'm just going to put transact or transaction. So we're going to put them under contract on something. And then from there, we're going to close. And then we're going to get that little drip of commission dollar, right? Our business is funny though, because once we get the drip of commission dollar, we don't get like an automatic new one next year. It's not like insurance where we get renewals, right? So we have to go do this over and over as many times as we can with new people. So what happens is we get the drip, or let's say we get to pre-qualify, we have an appointment, they're really not ready, right? So then we have to kick them out, right? They get kicked out of the funnel if they're not ready. Or once we close, they get kicked out of the funnel too, right? No one buys a house and then the next day buys another one, unless it's investment, I guess. Let's just talk normal home buyers. So you're going to kick these people out into a new funnel, right? This is your lead follow-up funnel, okay? And you're going to bring them through the same thing. Contacts, contacts, contacts. Communicate with them. Love on them. If you want to, throw events together. Do Facebook Lives with them. Bring them to your favorite restaurant. Bring them to your favorite coffee shop. I don't care what you do. But that lead follow-up funnel is everything. We use automations inside of that, which you guys will talk about later in Command. You're also going to do very manual things. Here's what I'll say. The more direct and manual the touches, the more effective that touches, like a written holiday greeting card, or handwritten notes. How about a text message? Hey, thinking about you. I know that you weren't ready for real estate last year. I'm hoping to be the guy when it's your turn this year, whatever it might be. Utilizing some sort of a lead follow-up strategy ensures that as you process and gather leads and you put them into your funnel, if they don't pre-qualify right away, funnel. If they don't sign right away, lead follow-up. If they close, lead follow-up. We never want to drop a lead. And here's the reason why. A lead is just a person, right? So to humanize the process a little bit, we're talking about funnels, but we're talking about the needs of people with the largest transactions that they'll likely ever do in their life, right? So to back up one step, as we dump them into the lead follow-up funnel, to dehumanize them for a moment, if you will, dump them into the funnel, we want to make sure that this funnel is personal and consistent. That's going to be what you guys learn in that lead follow-up section. Lead follow-up is, again, everything. You can almost build your career, and a lot of people do, and a lot of the clients that I work with now are past clients. They're people I've closed with that I just rotate through this funnel over and over again, right? Just consistently processing them through that funnel. Now, when it's their time, of course, to do a transaction, we're going to kick them right back up in there, right? These two just feed each other. They feed each other. The lead follow-up, though, is where you get to be authentically you. It's where you get to just be fun, right? So again, play golf. I'm going to beat this into the ground, so I'm sorry. But I'll take past clients and go play in a golf tournament rather than my closest friends, right? So how many of you guys have seen the charity golf tournaments that get played every Monday, from spring to basically winter here in Missouri, right? Don't go with your friends, bring a client. Bring 2 clients, bring 4 clients. I don't know. It's a little bit expensive, but do it, right? Or if you like pickleball, go play pickleball. If you enjoy shopping at a certain store or the Tanger outlets, Don't just go with your closest friends, even though they might be clients, bring people with you. Have fun in this business. That's what we learned in lead follow-up. Finally, transaction. Transaction is exactly what it sounds like. You guys are gonna learn to work from written agreements. That's exclusive buyer agreements, it's exclusive seller agreements. I love the agreements. There's two reasons why. Number one, anytime someone signs something, right, they're committing to work with you. So right away, you don't have to worry that someone else is gonna sneak in there and like try to close them. So out of the 8 other agents that interviewed last Friday, one of them was smart enough to bring an authorization to show document. Okay, so you got that seller's signature on the authorization to show. That seller thought he had committed to that client or to that agent for a 30-day period and couldn't sign with me. Thank God I asked the question, are you working with anyone else right now? Or, are we fresh? And he's like, oh no, I committed. So he almost didn't sign with me because he signed an authorization to show. We got him on that though. We worked from a written exclusive agreement, right? So his authorization to show is bunk and he's my seller now. Buy sides are the same way. My team doesn't show houses unless we have a signed buyer's agency agreement. If we do show houses, it's maybe like 1 or 2. Tori could speak to that. We're pretty good about that, right? Okay, yeah.
Yeah, but I was also in COVID and there was
That is true.
always
That helps.
exclusive agreements. Yeah.
COVID was like the best thing ever for the real estate industry. Like, oh, can't show you a house unless you're signed and
Horrible to
pre-qualified.
say, but it really was.
Yeah, it was awesome for us. And home prices went up, sellers were happy, houses sold quick, buyers couldn't just waste your time. But we transact from written agreements. And of course, we're gonna dive into our contracts. What's gonna happen in that segment is gonna be really important, but it's not going to be enough for you guys. So on my team, one of the things that I make sure I do with all of our agents is I baptize them in the buyer's exclusive agency, the seller's exclusive agency, and the real estate contract. So if they want to be a part of my team as an acting agent, they have to be able to recite to me those contracts, not word for word, but they have to be able to walk me through them, hitting all the high points, and they have to answer my questions without seeing those documents, right? They are, in a weird sense, kind of like your daily devotional inside of real estate. Like it's the thing that you should be waking up and spending time focusing in on understanding your buyer's agencies, your seller's agencies, and your contracts. There's a lot of things in there that a lot of agents don't know, and that you can actually use to your advantage when you're communicating with buyers and sellers. The last piece in that is the MREA. I've already mentioned it. They'll talk about it all the way through this. That book is awesome, but it's more like a textbook, okay? It's a textbook that's also a timeline, and it walks you through starting in real estate and overcoming certain mindsets, and it takes you all the way to, I've built a massive business, how do I exit it? So because of that, you're gonna hear a lot of people inside of Keller Williams say, I've read The Millionaire Real Estate Agent every year for 12 years. And it's like, oh, it's so cool, right? There's plenty of people who have read the book every year for 12 years that aren't in the business anymore. Okay, so just put that out there. The book is only as good as what you apply, right? So go to the book, find the segments that actually apply to where you're at and work through those. It's some of the most researched material in the real estate industry, period. And it's not Kelleristic, like it's really not. In fact, Keller Williams built its company around the findings of that book. So they went and researched what are the best agents and the largest teams and the most producing people in the world doing. Okay, how do we build a brokerage that can accommodate those kinds of that kind of growth, right? That's Keller Williams. So the book's really good, but it's a step-by-step guide, kind of like Ignite. Ignite would be like the first few chapters of The Millionaire Real Estate Agent. You're going to get out of it all kinds of awesome mindset. But really what's going to happen in your business is going to be a result of what you put into it by doing the activities. Again, coming all the way back to lead generation. All right, we're working again. Oh, look, it actually walked us through it all. So today, segment 1, spark your career. Today's agenda, you guys don't care. All right, good old, oh, this is from The Millionaire Real Estate Investor, which is another really good book. Another really well-researched book. There's this question inside of The Millionaire Real Estate Investor, and it's kind of a funny one. Gary talks about how like there's all these people that makes millions of dollars, net worth millionaires, income millionaires from real estate investing. And he's like, his findings were like shockingly simple. Like some of these people, they just bought like one house every few years as they saved up for the down payment and rented it out. And they did that over the course of like 30, 40 years. Other people built $1 million real estate investment businesses in a matter of 2 years, right? Super interesting. But he poses the question in that book. He says, like, talks about how, like, all walks have done it. Then he asks this question. Anyone can do it, not everyone will you? That's the one that, let me pause. I guess the way you answer this question, the will you portion, speaks to your mindset. That's going to be the number one determiner as to whether you actually have success in this business. Like all sales, it really comes down to the effort you're going to put into it. I've talked about that a lot already. What's interesting though, is there's not like a secret personality or like formula that will give you more success than not, right? Some people are super analytical, like my oldest daughter. Oh my gosh, my oldest daughter. Let me tell you guys, she's 6. She's the most rule follower of all rule followers. If you know me, I'm not the most rule follower of all rule followers, but she is. And my wife's not really either. But this girl, if it's like not black and white, like she's losing it, and I love her to death. She would be excellent in this business if she applied herself, right? Then you have my youngest daughter. My youngest daughter is the exact opposite. She's wild, she's free. I think today she dressed up like a dolphin. It was a dolphin all day. Like that's my youngest daughter, right? So Jane is a unique one. Jane would be excellent in this business as well. She would go out of her way to employ creativity, relationship building, excitement, and fun in her business. Now on the transaction side, she's going to need a transaction coordinator. We'll just go ahead and put that out there. She'll need the organization. But both of my daughters would be extremely great in this business based on their own strengths. That's what's really unique about the business. That's what the quote speaks to, is literally anyone can do it. There's not a magic formula in personality. There's not a magic formula in like your life circumstances or what you've gone through. It's really just a matter of making the conscious decision to say, every day I'm going to be one of the ones that do it. All right. Well, enough inspiration. We're going to talk about the 6 personal perspectives today. The 6 personal perspectives are by far the most impactful pieces of mindset inside of the real estate industry. These do come from all kinds of shenanigans, but really the largest piece of this is not Keller Williams, okay? Keller Williams distilled it into a course to teach. A lot of this comes from like Zig Ziglar, 80-20 principles, also known as the Pareto principle, which comes from like way old school. I mean, that was like 1800s, right? Alfredo Pareto, I think his name was. I don't know if it's actually true, but it kind of rhymes. Cool. This is also distilled in the book, The One Thing. Okay, so again, Gary Keller, Jay Papasan, they wrote a great book called The One Thing. It's a productivity hacking book. It is so good. We're going to walk through these today. I'm going to do my best to be quick, timely, and punchy, but we'll see what happens. First of all, committing to self-mastery. Well, before you guys look at all this, and actually you might have it right in front of you, so this might be a really dumb question, but can someone give me an example of what self-mastery does not look like? Think friends or dysfunctional family members. Yeah, that's what I thought. You're all kind of like smiling, like, oh yeah. Yeah, so I've got a brother that did 23 years on meth. Yeah, pretty incredible, yeah. I mean, it's actually a talent. Like this guy sustained that much drug abuse and he still is alive. It's amazing. I mean, more power to him. He went from having D1 offers to play middle linebacker in college actually at Cal State and at USC, all the way to 23 years on meth. And he now lives in a trailer in a town called Shady Cove, Oregon. Yeah, it's pretty cool. Yeah, he's a great guy. I jokingly tell you guys this. He's clean now. He's sober. He's been sober for 5 years. Thank God. All that to say, though, what he did not do was to make his mind up about what he wanted and commit to getting there, right? In fact, he let every other life circumstance that he went through as a kid, he's a half brother, so he had a different childhood than I did, but all the circumstances that he went through defined who he was rather than him choosing to define who he wanted to be. I have another brother. He's a half brother as well. He's only 2 years younger, and those two are full blood brothers. That guy's the complete opposite. He's a head ER nurse. He's married another head ER nurse. They are absolutely wonderful people. They've got 3 great kids. They live right on the ocean in California, and they live a wonderful life, right? We have 2 very almost identical childhoods. We have two very different outcomes. One brother made up his mind not to be controlled by the situations. The other one allowed the situations to determine his own outcome. So as we commit to self-mastery, it means a few things. Number one, it means wherever you're at right now doesn't have to be where you stay, okay? We have to make that conscious decision to change that. It also means the things that the slide's gonna say. Oh, man. Number one, it means knowing your goals, right? It's that commitment to where you're going. Number two, knowing your strengths and weaknesses. Sometimes who you are, not only like in your best moments, can be your power, but your weaknesses can actually turn into your superpower. So I tell that story about my brother, and yet now we work with an organization called The Kitchen. I don't know if you guys have heard of The Kitchen. They're wonderful. If you own rentals, they will fill your rentals with a version of like assisted housing. So The Kitchen is a nonprofit organization that works with the homeless and the at-risk in our town. And they go absolutely out of their way to do everything they can to find good people who are in need and to give assistance, right? So one of the weaknesses that came from my childhood and seeing and going through the relationship with this brother has turned into now an opportunity where we buy funky old houses, we clean them up, and we work with The Kitchen to place tenants at a discount so that the tenant can then get the check for the override and continue living their life, right? Whatever it is you've been through, whatever it is you struggle with, whatever the warts are that you have, those are absolutely strengths for you if you'll just look at them a little bit different. So number two, knowing your strengths and weaknesses isn't just conscientious acknowledgement of what's going on in your life. It's also knowing how you can use them and how you can change them in order to continue to grow as a person. So that's that self-mastery. I guess that's the last piece there, huh? Know how to work with both your strengths and weaknesses to seek and master the necessary knowledge, skills, and habits to reach your goals. The one thing I'll highlight in this one that I really like is to seek and master. No one that I know is actually considered a master. Like I've never, like, even if you get like a black belt, apparently there's like different levels of black belt. And like, even if you're the best, like you still have to like work and learn and like grow, you know? The best analogy I can think of in terms of real estate, again, even the best attorneys that I've known in this business, they know a fraction of what real estate law is. They know how to determine it and define it and work with it, of course. But what you guys will learn and do in your seeking and your mastering, the education, the talent, I like the habits, that's a really good one, the habits to reach those goals, that becomes everything. So the commitment is to the path, it's not to the end result. Okay, I'll say that again. The commitment is to the path of self-mastery. It's not to the end result. There will never be like an I've arrived moment. I'm kind of preaching to the choir here because it's something I struggle with. I always want to know, like, when can I just stop? Like, when is it like, I'm done, I'm just going to go lay on a beach. Like, I really want that, you know, like 2 shots of Myers dark rum, some pineapple juice, you know what I mean? Oh, best thing ever, and a beach. I really want that. At the end of the day, though, I don't necessarily think I'll ever get there because the path to self-mastery is so enjoyable. Like becoming a better person, influencing those around you, growing and learning, oh my gosh, it's the best. So this first one, this commitment to self-mastery is what's going to set you apart from your competition. It's going to give you longevity in the business. It does require humility. I'll give it that. It does require humility. That also requires that you intentionally seek out the knowledge, skills, and habits to reach your goals. Any questions with that one? Pretty straightforward. Cool. All right, 80-20. All right, so the 80-20 rule, this was found, oh my goodness. Alfredo Pareto. Let's see if it's in my packet. And let's see if it's actually his name. No, it doesn't say it in here. Dang it. I was really hoping. Okay, so this is a very simple principle. 80% of your results come from 20% of your actions. Yeah, okay, good. I read that right. I read it backwards, but I read it right. 80% of your results come from 20% of your actions. So without being too elementary, why don't you guys shout out some of the actions that you believe a real estate agent should take to produce the 80% of the results? Jordan, go. Regeneration. That's a pretty good one. That's a good one. What else?
Love on your clients.
What's that?
Love on your clients.
Yeah, love on your
Referrals.
clients. Yeah, love on your clients. What else?
Being social.
Being social. Yeah, super good.
Make yourself stand out.
Making yourself stand out. Yeah, I like it. What else? There's no wrong answer. Well, I guess there are wrong answers, but there's really not like that wrong of an answer here.
Follow up.
Follow up. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, you guys get the gist of this one. I think this is a very simple concept. The other one that I would add is, again, committing self-mastery, education, like continuing to attend classes, paying for coaching or whatever it is that you do, focusing there. The 20% activities are very easy to identify. You know how they're like how I identify them in people's lives? It's because of the things that they're like avoiding doing. I'm like, you know what I mean? Like, hey, I'm gonna get like personal and non-real estate here for a minute, so excuse me. But like, I can't tell you how many times I put date night on the calendar and then failed to arrange a babysitter. That's like a common theme in my household, and it gets me in the doghouse every time. Every time. So then I always argue, like, we'll just stick the kids in the dog kennel, they'll be fine for a couple hours and we'll go out. Wife never goes for that either. But the 20% action isn't actually the date night, right? That's the result. 20% action is booking the babysitter, right? So when I counsel or coach with agents, it's pretty straightforward. I'm struggling, I'm not getting enough leads, or I'm not doing this, I'm not doing that. I'm like, great, show me on your calendar where you spent the time to build the Facebook ads. Or show me on your calendar where you spent the time to make sure you did your follow-ups, right? So I'll give you a simple strategy that we use on our team. It works really well. We try to make it fun through prizes and beverages. But on Tuesdays from 10 to 12, it's required that everyone's in the office. Tuesdays, 10 to 12, 2 hours. Everyone lead generates for new leads, period. Everyone. I don't care if you're an assistant. I don't care who you are. You lead generate for new leads. Right, so that's cold calls, it's people that have visited your website or are in your CRM that you've never talked to. It's handwritten letters, it's Facebook, I don't really care, right? That's the thing about lead generation, I don't care what you do, I care that you do something, right? So a lot of people are gonna be like I just filmed a course last week, 34 hours on video about how to use direct mail to generate listing leads. Cool, awesome. Most people will take that course and never do it, but it's there for people. It might not be your thing. Your thing might be Facebook. So I've got a girl on my team, her name's Tawny. She films herself very often, posts it on social media, and she gets all kinds of listing leads from it. It's amazing. She's like, hey guys, I'm doing a video walkthrough of this normal house in Republic. And she walks it, and all of a sudden, next thing you know, 2 people are coming out going, hey, we'd like a house like that. I'm like, how do you do this? If I did that, they'd watch 3 seconds and turn it off, you know? I'm like, oh, Wes is weird. She gets listings. That being said, videos for her live in her 20%, right? For me, my direct lead follow-up for me is my 20%. If I did nothing in a day but lead follow-up, I'd produce a ton of business, right? Looking at your businesses, I would outline this in just 3 simple ways. The first is going to be obviously lead generation. The second, obviously lead follow-up. And then the third one would be self-mastery, right? So all the things we talked about last time, committing to gaining the knowledge, the skills, and acquiring the habits to achieve your goals. So if you could break down the 20% of your actions, it's right there, 80% of your results. All right. What lives on the other side of the 20% of your actions? It's the opposite of that, 80% of your actions, right? So we have 100%, 20 minus 80, right? So 80% of what you do in a given day really does not matter in terms of your real estate business, right? I'm super guilty of this. How many of you guys are inbox zero people? Do we have any inbox zeros in here? Yeah, we got one. Jordan, I know you're definitely not. Sheila, you're always on the fence about you. I think maybe you get there sometimes.
My Yahoo has over 10,000.
Okay, definitely not. Never mind.
Now my Gmail,
Yeah.
I have no unreads,
That's pretty
Yeah, I don't
good.
have any Androids.
That's
I have,
but I
amazing.
have,
20,000.
the Yahoo is junk.
Yeah.
Okay, so I mean unreads. How many are zero unreads? Wow, you guys are amazing.
Like 7,700 unread.
I know, it's
Like
so.
if there's a
you guys are amazing.
notification, you get one like somewhere on my phone, like it drives me crazy. I
Yeah.
get it off.
I love it. I love it. I'm not making fun of you particularly.
Don't make fun of me, it's all good.
But,
That's back.
80% of those are probably wasted time. because they are in my life, right? There's a lot of things that I'm spending time on. So a dumb example for me is I like auditing the people who work for me. I like auditing their results. How'd you get them? Spend the time in there. And I'm like, it's not producing any results by focusing on what they've done. Like, yeah, I can help them coach them, but it's really not helping anything. Like I should be producing, right? There's plenty of things. Teaching this class for me. No, I'm just kidding. I'm totally this fills my gun. This fills my gun. The other side of this one right here. So 20% of your actions produce 80% of your results. It does not mean that the other 80% is completely useless. That other 80% produces 20% of your results. Does that make sense? So our goals are to get extremely clear about our 20%. And then I would actually encourage you to go further and get clearer on the 20%. So what if, I already messed up that whiteboard. What if before this, there was another one, right? So it was like, this 20% of the 20% produce the majority of your 80%. You guys tracking with me? So if in here we have lead generation, lead follow-up, and we have commit to self-mastery, what if like your lead generation specifically for in open houses was producing the majority of your 80% of your results? You see what I'm saying? So we can audit this to get even deeper. We can call it the extreme Pareto or the extreme 80-20. If you go deeper on that and you identify that niche, like whatever that niche is for you, lead generation, I told you earlier, mine's lead follow-up, right? If I continue working with the people I've worked with and cultivating a relationship, I get so many deals. No, not braggadocious, just that's what I'm good at. Right? I'm really not good at going and procuring new clients. I'm really good about getting return and repeat and referral customers out of my existing database. So whatever it is for you, again, Tawny, I picked on her earlier. Hers is like film myself Facebook Live and I get clients, right? So get extreme on that. So you've already got your 20, get the 20 of your 20 that's producing the majority of your results. Focus there. That's what you'll build your business around. So I'm running out of breath. I apologize. I took 2 Dayquil. I'm not sick. I'm just trying to keep the lungs open. Litton Keats Real Estate, right? 300 units a year. If you look at our 80%, where does the majority of our business come from? It's sphere of influence and repeat and referral. Okay. So what do you think our 20% is? Tuesdays, we are lead generating for new, but where are we lead generating new from? Sphere of influence. Right, repeat and referral. Thursdays, I haven't told you this one, Thursdays from 10 to 12. Thursdays 10 to 12 is only lead follow-up. When you say lead follow-up, who would you be following up with most likely? Someone who's already in your sphere of influence or repeat referral, right? Someone you've already connected with. So if you look at how we've built and structured our lead generation days for our team, it's specifically around the niche of the 20%. Then I just told you guys I filmed a whole course on how to use direct mail in your business to produce listing leads, right? Well, that's going to be not the 20% of the 20%. That would be the 80% of the 20% for our team. So that's the third lead source that we utilize at a high level that brings business. Does that make sense? So you'll begin to utilizing this tool, really niche down on what you're good at. Then from there, you can kind of analyze and go, okay, where else, what other results am I getting? And what are the actions I took to get there? So you can really build out your day. And the funny thing is I've got a team, we spend 4 hours a week. That's it, right? That's essentially an hour a day, close, I don't know, whatever. It's 4 hours a week is what we're spending to produce the business we're producing. It's actually pretty straightforward. And here's the other thing, we have an in-house call team. I love those guys. They really don't produce that much compared to our agents, right? They handle all the lead follow-up, they handle a lot of the database management, but if I actually audited where our deals came from, it came from our agents focusing on the people that they know and love and have influence on. And then we layer the mail over that. And then we have the call team cultivating deals. It's really interesting. So if I broke it all down, the most effective thing that we found in business is you and the people that you know and love, and you working on them, loving on them, and cultivating them. Super simple. At least that is for my business. Other people are like, hey, I buy a bunch of internet leads and I convert them and sell them all. Whatever it is for you, do it. Use the tool to niche down here. Okay, we're moving on. I don't know how long we've been going, but we're going. Moving from E to P. All right, so this is a funny thing because like Keller Williams' new slogan is where entrepreneurs thrive. But then like this whole thing is like the entrepreneurial approach, moving from that to the purposeful approach. So I don't know. Keller Williams got a little mixed up on that one. The right arm didn't talk to the left. All right. E to P. Entrepreneurial is doing what comes naturally. So how many of you guys would say, yeah, whatever you believe your skill set to be, that's largely come just kind of naturally to you? Like, yeah, I mean, I think that in real estate sales, most people, they tend to cultivate business out of where they're most comfortable. And they should, like, that should be the case. Like if you have a baseball player who's really good at throwing a fastball, we're not putting them on first base, we're putting them on the pitcher's mound, right? So we want you operating in your skill set. What happens then in that skill set, if all we do is say, all right, Johnny, you're a real strong thrower, get up there, you can do it. And we don't layer any coaching, or we don't have any strategy around them, or we don't help him with his cadence inside of his windup, right? If there's no framework from which he's operating, Johnny gets on the mound and just throws the ball hard, right? And he might have success or he might not. He might throw his arm out prematurely or he might not. So what we look at then is how do we layer systems, models, tools, mindsets, things like that over what we're naturally good at in order to break through to the next level. And so for some of us, that might be get our first deal. Other people, it might be get our 10th. It might be create a career out of this. It might be I am working to the bone and I need an assistant or I need the next level of growth, right? Whatever it is, this is our mindset framework around it. So I'm going to go ahead and point out the obvious because it's on the slide, but it's kind of funny to me. So entrepreneurialism, yay. Point 1 is labeled as disappointment. Let's not start there. Like, let's not like have a little bit of success and then just we're disappointed, disengaged. 2 is resignation. I see 2 all the time in this business. Disappointment comes quick. All right, for those that have been in the business a few years, disappointment comes quick in real estate sales, doesn't it? Yeah, so I have a double-sided $870,000 deal that the bank signed off on before we put it under contract for this buyer, right? The seller is like bending over backwards to accommodate. I get 6% out of it and I'm so excited. And then Friday, the bank's committee met and declined the deal after I have a written letter signed from the president of the bank stating they would fund it. You know, disappointment comes quick. Like it's fast. And it can be from anywhere too. It could be your best friend just listed with someone else. That's a good one. Or you lose a listing appointment to Patrick Murray. I don't know why. I've never met the guy. He's probably the nicest human on earth. I just don't like losing to him. It's not like a Keller Murray thing. It's just that I've never met him. And I'm like, he's a ghost. How can I lose to a ghost? I don't get it. Anyway, like Google him. Like I Google image search Patrick Murray. Like go for it. You won't find him. It's amazing. Yeah, 100%. Yeah, there's not a single photo of him online. It's amazing. It's so worth it. It's so worth it.
You know, this is a show me state, right?
It's on down the rabbit hole, friends.
How long have you been in the business?
So I'm coming up on my 8th anniversary.
Yeah, so I've been 6 or 7. I've never seen a picture of him. Asked him, nobody I know's got any picture. It's unbelievable.
I know he drives a gray Tesla.
So you've been stalking.
Absolutely. Absolutely. His office has a back entrance on the building of Murney over by the Hogan over there. I go over there and like when I close over there, I will sit there and wait. I'll text Debbie Murray on this team, like, Debbie, is Patrick in? She's like, no. I'm like, oh, he's coming. No, never met him. All right, 3 is a fun one. So 3 is called greener pastures. So I will admit that I often get to greener pastures. I go, oh, I could just not sell anymore and not have a team. I could just live on my real estate investments. I'd be a happy boy. And I would be on a beach with 2 shots of Dark Myers rum and a splash of pineapple.
Bored out of your mind.
Bored out of my freaking mind. That is absolutely right. And I think it comes back to the first one, right? Committing to self-mastery. Because is my best use of myself laying on a beach? For a couple weeks, absolutely. then after that, like, is that really what I was put on earth for? So greener pastures is a fun one. Greener pastures is the reason that Shanna Blumel has a job, right? As real estate agents, we get to that point consistently. Like, man, nothing I'm doing is working. This is so frustrating. I'm disappointed. We start to resign. We go, maybe real estate's not the thing for me. And then we're like, ooh, look at that, timeshare sales, you know, which is actually a common one for us, or insurance. Or my personal favorite, I'll become a mortgage lender. That's the best. I've always joked, like, if I ever have an encore career, it's as a mortgage lender, because I just won't do anything and real estate agents will bring me deals. Because that's what everyone who quits real estate thinks, right? Looking at this, we don't want this to be our experience. One thing I will point out is, look, we had some success. Then we came down, then we had some more success, and the cycle continues. You guys seeing what I'm seeing? A lot of people, so in Keller Williams, are we all familiar with the capping model? Right, so our commissions are capped. So if we sell like $2 million in real estate, and we get paid on it, then everything after that's 100% commission. So what I tend to see is, because we've called it a cap, it just becomes people's natural ceiling of achievement. They're like, I've capped. And we're like, hell yeah, you capped, you get a gift, you did it. And then they're like, well, why did I only net like 30,000 this year, right? Like, after my expenses, after my taxes, after my fees, I didn't make as much money as I thought I would, right? It's because right on the other side of that capping ceiling is 100% commission. So you might make 30,000, but then your next sale, with an average sales price of $250 at $7,500, you just netted like, what, 6,000 after taxes? That's really terrible math. We'll call it 6, right? And then your next sale is another 100% commission and another 6. And you're like, oh, I get it. So most people approach the capping model as that's their ceiling. When that happens, they find themselves at greener pastures a lot, because they could just go get a normal job and it'll pay it the same. Actually, you're right. That's the fun secret about real estate. The problem with a normal job is you have a boss, you have a specific set of hours that you have to be there, typically. You can get fired. So if you're a degenerate, then real estate's for you, right? But what happens is, people that got into real estate, they just rely on what they know and what they do. And they usually get into it for things like what I just mentioned. Oh, I don't have a boss. That was me, right? Oh, there's so much opportunity, whatever it is. Then they rely on what they know instinctually to try to drive through, and they keep hitting these stopping points. Now, the natural ceiling of achievement for you changes throughout your business. So in committing to self-mastery, as we're continuing to lead generate, lead follow-up, growing our knowledge, skills, and habits, that ceiling changes. So we can actually push that ceiling higher up. Or if you break through a ceiling, you implement a new model or a new strategy or a new system, or you have a new mindset, you actually break through an area that you were stuck, then you're going to find yourself at a point, right? So this is both the entrepreneur's curse and the entrepreneurial blessing. I call it a blessing is because there's nothing better. There's really no feelings that much better than accomplishing something significant in your real estate career, getting through that natural ceiling of achievement. So in order to do so, we are going to take a purposeful approach. Purposeful does not mean prescripted. So the Red Book, Millionaire Real Estate Agent, has descriptions in it of a real estate team. And then it has prescriptions in it as well of, hey, you should do this, right? This is not that. Like, I can't prescribe anything that would like make you focus. I can't prescribe a specific model that will guarantee your achievement. There's no system that I could say, hey, I promise you, if you just implement this, you will break through your ceiling of achievement. This is Discovery Channel right here. Like, that's what the Red Book is. That's what these classes are. That's the educational side in our industry. We're watching and we're learning. We're seeing the patterns and habits of the other animals in our ecosystem, seeing how they're accomplishing things, and then we begin to implement them. It starts, number one, with intentionality. So if you guys have it in your book, cross out focus, write intentionality. Focus is a tricky one, because when we think focus, we think like we're just zoned in, right? Can't hear anything, your tunnel vision, like real estate's everything. Like, I don't need to see my kids, right? Well, this is a real thing. A lot of people ruin relationships because of number one. Rather than saying, I'm going to be intentional in my activities, they say, my real estate career is going to become my everything. So we need to get away from like focus because it's a little bit too narrow. We just need to be intentional. Number two is model. So models are like best practices. Okay. So if I said, Jordan, because I know you do some outbound calling and you're freaking good at it. What is a general model? Like if I was to say, all right, Jordan, you got to go call for an hour. Like, what's your model? What are the like first three things you do?
I put my list together. I put it together,
You build a list.
build a list.
Okay,
And
two.
then scrub said list,
Scrub the list.
and then find the data.
All right. And then you call the data, basically, right? Sweet. Okay. So he's got a model. Did you guys hear that? Like he knows if he makes this many calls, doing it this way, he's going to get that. Do you agree? So, okay, on average, and you might not know this, so if not, then just say, Wes, shut up, you're embarrassing me. If I say you're gonna have a 2-hour calling session, and you've built it intentionally, and you go, what would you expect to come out of that 2-hour calling session?
Probably 7 contacts an hour, 1 or 2 appointments.
1 or 2 appointments. So he spends 2 hours of intentionality doing something that is built, right? He's got a model around it and he has a system. He knows, okay, build my list. I need approximately this many people. I'm going to make approximately 7 contacts. It's going to produce a few appointments, right? And then we also know, because he'll track it in his own business, how many appointments does Jordan need to convert to a listing? Probably 2 or 3. It's kind of the average, right? So 2 or 3 appointments get him a listing taken. Right now, every basically 1.2 listings taken is a closing, right? So he knows if he spends 4 hours lead generating, he will have income. And you guys know Jordan. Jordan's not afraid to call the big stuff, which is the best thing ever. So we just put one under with Kevin, didn't we? 680?
Like,
No, it's like, yeah,
It was like-
650.
yeah.
Plus Monday.
Yeah, it was like 450, but that was actually from Sphere, but I do, like, I don't ever look at I just put them in a list, so I don't look at the sales price, because like, I feel like if you look at the sales price, you're like, I'm not gonna call $800,000 listing.
Yeah.
So I don't look at it.
So there's his system. So we just walk you guys through both his system and his model around calling. And then finally breakthrough. You experience breakthroughs when you follow this thing. So you have intentionality around what you're doing. In doing so, you're going to implement a model. A model is kind of like a playbook, right? So if you're going to build a business around your friends and family, we need to have an intentional playbook around how we're engaging them and then what steps we're following inside of that engagement, right? So systems can be like tools, they can be people, or they can be as simple as like a checklist or a process, right? So we're going to implement the model, the framework. So if you think about it, that's the playbook. And then the system is going to be like the players, okay? So when Jordan was talking, he said, I'm going to pull a list. So you're probably using CRS, tax info or PropStream. PropStream is my favorite. If you guys want a link, I can get you a free PropStream for a few weeks. PropStream is a fun one. CRS is a great one. Whatever it is, you can just pull the data out of the tax records so you can get people's names and their addresses. And then from there, he's uploading it into a skip tracer. So a skip tracer is a simple product that just takes that record and rubs it against different databases that are public and pulls people's phone numbers and email addresses. It's not perfect by any means.
It also scrubs the DNC.
It also scrubs the do not call list. This is super important. And again, we're then going to call them in a TCPA compliant manner. So that's either hand dialing or single line dialing, right? But when we're looking at this, the most important thing is he knows his model. He knows what he has to do, his activities that he needs to put in, and he knows the steps, right? Then he also has the expected results.
So when you and Josh first started, what did you guys do? What did you guys find the most challenging about going from E to P?
Oh, man. For us, it was hiring the assistant. That was the hardest. We made that. So I started it, right? A year and a half later, Josh joined. I picked up Josh instead of an assistant, which, okay, Josh is an awesome dude. But when you're a salesperson and then you're like, I need help, and you go get another salesperson, you still really need help. Like, it didn't change anything. So then I was like, we're gonna hire an assistant. So then we started searching and we found another salesperson and hired him. Yeah, that's pretty
I
awesome.
remember that.
Yeah,
I
so
remember whenever you guys hired Denver and you Josh was like, yeah, that's our ISA or our ISA. And I was like, what about your assistant? He's like, yeah, he's not gonna.
yeah, he's not gonna cut it. Yeah. So then all of a sudden we had 3 salespeople and we had no assistant. So that was really cool.
So it's leverage.
Yeah. So leverage was a huge piece for us. My personality is very much like, I can wake up at the same time every morning. I can work out at the same time. I can diet. Like I can do all the necessary steps. I'm very much a creature of habit. So lead generation for me it was just part of building the habit, right? So in my self-mastery, it was like, okay, so I don't have to do my college workouts anymore. Now I can supplement that with earning money through connecting with people. Simple. It also helped that I came from a call center job into real estate. So that helped too. I was used to being on the phones. Not everyone's going to build it around the phones though. There's going to be a little bit different. I did SOI and phones and then open houses. So that was what I did. The biggest thing for me, to answer your question, Jordan, when it was just me, like even prior to Josh coming on, was finding the models. So it was like finding what I wanted to like do. So open houses is a good example. I didn't realize that in the book Shift, there's a whole prescription for open houses. Right now, you guys have KW Connect, which is a giant database of educational resources produced by Keller Williams people. You can literally type in anything in there and it'll produce models and documents and tips for you. Videos even, I mean, it's incredible. Or you can just knock on my door, Dan's door, Adam's, whoever, and just say, what the hell are you guys doing that's working? And teach me, right? So that was the big thing back then is I didn't have like a central database to like go look at things. I was literally like, Carrie Wersch was like my godsend. I was like, Carrie, I got clients, I don't know what to do now, and Carrie would walk me through the steps. We didn't have a productivity coach. Keller Williams was only 180 people. So I was 182, and we were back in an old building and it was just a different culture. Now it's like, there's resources everywhere. There's an in-house coach. Rachel is freaking amazing. We actually have an investor group that sells real estate. It's a big deal. I don't know if you guys know that. Like a lot of Keller Williams are owned by people who don't actually sell real estate, which if you think about what that does to the culture of the company, then it's not focused on growth and changing and adapting and being profitable and profit sharing and training people well and blah, 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 blah. Instead, it's a bunch of old people who just want money, right? Or the opposite. Our 4 largest investors are all active agents. So when you look at the framework for this company now, is significantly shifted from when I started. So finding what worked for me and then finding the systems was next. So open house is a great example. Now you can have the market center place your signs if you can. When should you place your signs? Here. What technology should you implement around your open house? Well, we would then go into a program like a prop stream or CRS, and we would draw a circle around the open house, pull the data. We would send handwritten cards inviting the neighbors. So we started like building these strategies around our opens and it started working. I also found that in holding open houses, it's really hard right now, but consistently hold opens in similar areas or zip codes. School districts are huge in the Springfield area. So if you're like, I love Nixa, you need something? I might have hidden it.
And we're looking for more thank you cards or more KW cards. Sorry.
Good luck. So like one of the big things for opens for me that changed my business was I lived in Ozark at the time. I would do opens just basically whenever someone had an open house. I was like, I'll just take it. I was the guy on the Facebook page. I was like, I'll just take it. There was also 4 times as much inventory when I started than now. So it's a little different, but I started doing open houses only in Ozark School District, only average sales price or higher. I would do them for other companies. I really had no fear because I had nothing to lose. I did 6 months, no income. And I was like, I need some money. So I started pulling opens in the same general areas. Well, what happens is you get the same visitors over and over. So my largest referral client has never done business with me, but I met them by doing open houses in Ozark School District, 300,000 or above on an acre or more, right? Every single time I held one of those opens, they came. And I've won their family, I won their daughter's business, their son's business, their mom's business, and grandma after she passed. I got her house too, right? They still haven't bought or sold, whatever, but I've won that entire family's book of business. It's really interesting. So that was that system piece. And then the breakthrough is what I'm describing. It's the result that comes from it. Now what happens is you broke through, you're at P now, and then you're going to be layered with another ceiling, right? So that was me. Okay, I'm having success. I'm doing things. I really need an assistant because I broke out in shingles because of my anxiety. I had a panic attack behind the wheel of my truck. You know, all this fun stuff that comes with real estate, especially when you're young, dumb, and broke, and you're just like out there doing stuff. So that all happens. The team leader at the time saw me put my truck up on the side of the road because it was right by our office. And he ran out and was right on Battlefield. And he runs out and he goes, I told you you need to hire an assistant. Slaps the truck and walks off.
Is that Chris Russell?
Yeah, it was Chris Russell. Got fired a week later. Not related, but he got fired a week later. Ironically, though, what ends up happening then is you have these breakthroughs and you just get put a new ceiling above you. So like our team right now, we're doing really well. Our current ceiling is 300 units. Like that sounds like a ton. There are teams in Keller Williams doing 3,000 units consistently, right? So why grow? Well, going back to number one, it's part of my commitment to self-mastery. But now we found ourselves a new ceiling. So how do we break through that? So more coaching, more training. I just flew to Pensacola to train and to learn from a guy who's got a team of 18, and they did 790 transactions with 18 people last year in 5 states. You know, so it's like you start to invest in yourself to grow. That's this part. The one thing I would say, like moving from E to P, another like kind of phrase or idea about it is moving from egotism to profitability, right? So entrepreneurial, I think that one's out of the way. I think really operating that manner is just ego. It's if it's up to be, or if it's to be, it's up to me and I'm the only way, right? Whereas the P, it's a profitable approach. Like if you're building a business in real estate by following the models, building systems that are scalable and repeatable, right? Now, if you ever only just want to be an individual agent, God bless you. Like, holy crap. There is the biggest opportunity in a down market is an individual agent who has models and systems. The biggest bar none opportunity. 2 reasons why. You need less sales to make more money, okay? And the second one is if you have models and systems, it can be scalable inside of yourself. You just have to work with you have to be creative about how you implement things like virtual assistants or different CRM products. Or we use automatic mailers, handwritten mailers. We use an automatic system for those now. Like you can get creative around it. The biggest opportunity is the individual because your overhead's so low, right? The next biggest opportunity is massive team. That mid-level team, that's going to be a hard place to be in a downturn, right? High overhead, low margins on sales. It's just going to be hard. All right. That's again, egotism to profitability. And I'm only on number 3. Holy crap, guys. I am sorry. Any questions on E2P? Anything we've talked about that you're like, hey, talk more about that?
If you guys, I mean, if he was script driven, you know what I mean, when he does, do you do the same script every time or when you know, or is it?
For me, I use a script as more like an outline.
That's kind of what I figured, yeah.
Yeah, so I hit like the key points, but everything else is just a conversation for me personally. I know some people like live and die by scripts, like Dan.
Yeah.
So
Yep.
for me, it just depends on how you like your personality.
Yeah.
The scripts are another way of saying like conversations. So like a planned conversation is a script, right? So I know if I have to call my wife and say, hey, I know it's 5 o'clock, or we just finished 18 and all the boys are going up to have a drink, you know, like that's a whole script. And I've now had that call a few times. And sometimes I have really good success and other times I don't. And the difference is, did I follow my
It's a
script?
process of self-mastery.
That's right. That's exactly right. It's the same concept. You'll end up having the conversation so often that it'll become embedded in you, right? So one of the things when I had that listing appointment on Friday and he had all these other agents, one of the things he said is you're the only one that didn't actually like come off salesman-y. And I was like, well, that's weird because my literal script back to that, or when someone's like, you sound salesman-y, my script back is always, Well, unfortunately, the way I support my family is by getting people like you to sign listing agreements with me. So it forces me to be a little bit salesy. I apologize if that's how it comes across, but I absolutely love my family. And he kind of giggled and was like, yeah, I get it, you know? So if you think about it, your scripts are just kind of pre-recorded conversations. It doesn't mean it always goes that way. It just means you kind of have a place to operate from. The scripts become really important. Now, you're gonna have tons of them in this book, in the bold books, Keller Williams, tons and tons of scripts. Use them, hate them, I don't care. Write your own, just as long as two things happen. Number one, you get your point across, and number two, you ask for something. If you don't ask, you'll never receive, right? And it's definitely true in real estate. A lot of people lose business because they don't ask for it. So, all right. Being learning-based, the foundation of your growth plan or action plan. This one's pretty simple, right? We've talked about this a lot. Ignorance based, I know what I know, and that's it. So you're gonna really enjoy that hard ceiling. Bye, Jordan. Thank you. The second one is you're actually learning based. So what you, and these are kind of fun, know for doing sake. There's a big difference between knowledge. So, and I think it's the Bible. It's the Bible. It's either the Bible.
Go ahead and try, we'll
It's
tell you
either
if
the
you're right
Bible
or
or
wrong.
it's a book written about the Bible. But there is a phrase, I'm gonna mess it up, so it's been a while. I did do seminary, but since then, no. But knowledge puffs up.
That's
Right. So what we tend to do in real estate is we will educate ourselves to death. We do this in the church too. We learn ourselves out of relationship with God. In real estate, we'd like to learn ourselves out of relationship with clients, right? So we have to keep in mind that what we're doing is we're learning important things to implement. We're not learning to just learn them, right? So when we talk about the 80-20 rule, and I say niche down and get to 20 of your 20, that should be something we go do, or we think about doing as we're building our business, right? Or if we need to audit our business, we'll go back and utilize the tool. Just knowing the 80-20 rule gets you nowhere, right? That's what the slide is essentially saying. Keller Williams will drown you in training. I don't know if you guys know this, but for a decade, they were the #1 training company in the world across all companies, period, including Fortune 500s. For 1 decade, they won, according to Trainer magazine. They finally retired us and we're in the Platinum Hall of Fame for Training magazine. So we don't get considered in the awards anymore because we are in the Hall of Fame. Whatever. We're still beating the pants off of almost every corporation, period. In fact, Disney came. So Orlando, Florida, we held our family reunion event in Orlando, Florida 2 years ago. 2 years ago. And in that, Disney actually came. They sent their execs to visit not only our conference, but to actually one of them spoke, and it was freaking amazing. But then they were recording. Disney was recording Keller Williams' family reunion and taking notes to then implement in their training with their people. How cool is that? Like when we think about a company that is education driven, it is 100% Keller Williams. The problem with that is we need to take the education and we need to put it into action, right? So once we do that, you'll break through. So again, productivity on the outside, enlightenment on the inside. That's what we're seeking. And it's on all things. If you read the book, The One Thing, it talks about kind of the 7 general areas of your life. One of them, spirituality, physicality, relationships, just basically 7 holistic areas, job, business, super good. These are coming from that book. So this isn't just about business. This is about your spiritual life, your physical life, your relationships, your marriage, your friendships. There's so much that this applies to. So again, we're learning for doing sake, period, bar none. That's what we do here. If you find someone who's learning for knowledge sake, come tell me. Because those are my favorite people to go bring to coffee. Because they'll know all the right answers. And then I'll ask them the best question ever. And like, so how many did you sell last month? How many did you sell last year? Or it'll be bring your profit and loss statement to coffee. That's my favorite one. Yeah, that's my favorite. Because they will know for knowing sake. And they'll tell you they know. That's just my favorite thing ever. People who tell you that they know, but they don't do, right? We avoid that here. And if we see it, we point it out because those people can flip that knowledge into action so quickly. And they can really change lives that way. And that's another piece is, oh, this is fun. I like this. I'm neither especially clever nor especially gifted. I'm only very, very curious. As we adopt the knowing for doing sake mindset, we should begin implementing that way. Like, you should be the fastest to fail out of anyone you know. Can someone explain what I mean by that? You should be the fastest to fail out of anyone you know.
That means you're trying. If
Right.
you don't try, you don't fail. If you don't fail, you're not trying. I
I'm
mean,
an
it's-
expert at failure. If you ever need lessons in failure, I'm happy to help.
I coach gymnastics and I say that all the time. Well,
There you go.
you're right. You will never get it because you'll never try to get it. If you try to get it, you're probably not
Yep.
more times than you'll get it. But once you get it, you'll always have it.
Yep.
So it's just the fear to fail is also the fear of trying.
Yeah.
They have to try before they can fail. Failure is that's a gold star for your try.
That's exactly right.
Failure is a gold star for all of your effort to try.
I have bought every kind of lead, no, like, period. I've bought them all. I've paid for them all. I've tried them all. Zillow, I at one point had 10,000 a month spend in Zillow. Backed that down real fast. Let me tell you, that one did not convert very well. Back when Realtor.com was actually a good company. We bought their leads. Then they flipped to OpCity. We used OpCity. We've done all of it. Bold leads, shoot, everything you can think of. We've tried it. In trying it all, though, we found what really works for us, right? So direct mail is not something a lot of people do. Like, very few people utilize direct mail. That doesn't make it good for you or bad for you. It just worked for us. So we failed so often, we finally found something that we failed less at. And we're like, ooh, we can do this, right? So we started implementing that. Now our systems and our business model looks different because we implemented it. Does that mean that you should copy that? No. It means you should continue to fail at the things you're attempting to do to get it right. We run a charity event every year called Barks and Brews, and it is so much fun. So we rent out Wire Road Brewing, we get food trucks there, we get live music, we get our vendors, and we invite people to bring their dogs, and we raise money for charity, right? So this year was Dogwood Ranch. So we raised a bunch of money for Dogwood Ranch. I think it was like like $18,000 in 2 hours. It's pretty cool. And Dogwood was there, they hung out with us. And basically people bring their dogs, they buy raffle tickets. We give away awesome raffle prizes every 30 minutes and we buy them drinks so they can drink beer and hang out and
More raffle tickets.
they buy more raffle tickets, yeah. And they get an arm's length and it's my arms, so that helps a lot. But that being said, we ran 3 other events the year before. And all of them were like uncomfortably awkward and like really not good. But we ran them, right? So it was like, okay, event number 1 lost $5,000. Event number 2 lost $2,000. Event number 3 lost $12,000. And I was like, oh my gosh, what are we doing wrong? I hired a coach, he coached us through a lot of this. We built Barks and Brews together, right? This year, our off Barks and Brews direct referrals at the event, we have 4 under contract right now, right? We raised $18,000 for a charity and everyone had a good time, kind of. It was pretty warm. And the lady doesn't like it when the kids play in their like decorative fountains, but what is she gonna do? But all that being said, we failed our way into success. That's what Albert Einstein did his whole career. That's what Gary Keller's done his whole career. And let me tell you, because I'm good friends with him, that's what Dan Holt does his entire career. That guy was selling a lot of houses not long ago. All right. 5, removing limiting beliefs. All right. Pretty straightforward here, guys. Let me give you a couple of examples of a limiting belief, okay? I have to know everything, AKA be an expert, before I can help a client buy or sell a house. That would be a limiting belief. Ooh, I like this one. I don't think I can achieve my profit goal that will fund my ideal life this year. I'm new. I like that one. My first year, I told you guys I went no income for 6 months. What I didn't tell you is the next 6 months, I sold $3.6 million in real estate off of the activities that happened in the first 6 months. Now, at the time, it was very scary. And it seemed almost accidental that it was all finally working. And oh my God, thank you so much. Like, you know, but looking back, like, oh, no, we had something going here, right? I like this one. I don't yet know enough to feel comfortable talking to people about real estate, right? Or how about this one? I just want the business to come to me naturally. I really don't need to lead generate. These are all these basic limiting beliefs. What happens when we tell ourselves things inside of that kind of a framework, things that would hold you back potentially from becoming what you want to be, you'll get it, right? Like, that's the hard part. So I don't even know if I should bring the story up. We'll use it in the third person because someone in this room might know the person. Good friend of mine, from the day after they got married, they would always joke about divorce. Consistently, joking. And at first we thought it was humorous. Then when we did like a couples trip to Mexico and like the jokes just kind of kept flowing, but it was like always like in banter and like, you know what I'm talking about. Well, that limiting belief of they'll never have a great marriage or whatever, they got what they asked for. And unfortunately, that's kind of the same way in sales business, right? Our success tends to be what happens between our ears almost more than anything, because that's where it all starts. So if we were to say like, okay, over on one spectrum is the beginning, and on the other spectrum is a closed transaction, the very first step would be, what am I thinking in the moment? The very next step would be, okay, did I pick up the phone or, whatever it might be, did I schedule the open house? It all actually begins between the ears. That's essentially what this is saying, is part of your self-mastery should be seeking people who will get into your life and help remove limiting beliefs. And that's, again, it's holistically. It's not just business, it's spiritual, physical, whatever it might be. All right, any questions on that one? It's a little esoteric, but I think it's still super important, particularly in light of number 1. Number 6, be accountable. Okay, I am not going to read this whole thing, but we're going to sum it up nicely with this. If number 1, you seek truth inside of your business, right? Do you guys have this chart, by the way? Okay, so good. Okay, if you seek truth, if you seek reality of what's happening inside of your business, it will come to you. Like, things will change, right? So if you approach your business with honesty, you say, okay, Wes, I need you to show me what I'm doing. Or in my case, my coach's name is Aaron. He loves telling me what I'm doing wrong. So Aaron, help me out with this. What's going on? The first thing he's going to do is walk me through this. What was your goal? Where are you at? What's your gap? So you're going to do a goal to gap exercise with me. What that does is it immediately opens up reality, right? So it seeks reality. I go to him and say, okay, what's going on? Then number 2, I have to be like, yeah, that's actually true. I can't give my excuses of like, well, I was in Florida, or, oh, my lead buyer's agent was sick, or whatever it might be. I can't give him an excuse, right? All of those things, got me to where I'm at. So I have to be able to acknowledge it and say, okay, here's where we're at. And this is the hard part. This is where most people get tripped up. They have to own it, okay? So when Shanna said, every night I'm going to text you guys or email you guys requesting your numbers, and 0 is a number, reporting a 0 on my team is not a bad thing. It tells me that you understand that you didn't do anything. And that's totally okay, because maybe you spent time doing something better. I don't know. I am not convinced work is the most important thing in someone's life, okay? But I want them to be able to own it. So they have awareness, they then have clarity, and then they say, okay, yeah, that's me. A great book around this, if you guys struggle with it, or if you have family members, friends, teammates, is Extreme Ownership by Jocko Willink. It's very much kind of like a man's book, because he's a Navy SEAL. But God, is it just the best book? It is so good. We've read it 3 times on our team. It's called Extreme Ownership. Jocko, Jocko Willink. I'm not even gonna try. But if you just type in Jocko, you'll find it.
I think it's just
That's probably right. That's a good guess.
Just make sure you, not A.
The next piece is find solutions. So once you're able to say, yeah, that's my responsibility, then you can say, okay, now how do I change it, right? What's really hard to do is to change things you don't feel responsible for, right? So for instance, when my kids disobey me, they do often, and I seek to correct them, I have to first go inward.
Where did they learn?
And say, why is Tennyson doing the things that Tennyson is doing? And it's largely because of me. So then my conversation to her is not, you've got to stop. Why are you doing this? It's, hey, I realize you've picked this up because I do this. I'm sorry, I do this. How can we not do this together, right? So we find solutions, possibilities. In the real estate business, it's a lot of open-ended questions. And it's open-ended questions to people who have found solutions to your problem beforehand. How do you find people who have found the solution to the problem you're in? You ask other people who do you know that has found a solution to the problem that I'm in, right? Your market center staff, your ownership group is super accessible. My number's on the board. You can text me, Rachel, Shanna, whoever you want. If you go to them and say, who do you know that has found a solution to the problem I'm facing right now? They'll probably be like, oh, this person, this person, this person, here you go, right? Or if you have a coach, you can go to your coach and say, all right, coach. Oh, by the way, your coach should be, if you ever hire one, should be so much further than you in your real estate career. It's silly, right? It's like my coach sold 1,800 listings in a single year. Okay. So like that guy's like way cooler than me. He's since retired, but I'm like, okay, you did something amazing. You can coach me, right? So just as a framework, if you ever do hire coaching, get someone like really good, okay? Because you're spending money. Anyway, all that to say, seek that person that can help you find solutions or that content, right? So Millionaire Real Estate Agent, Shift Book, One Thing, Keller Williams Connect, or a million YouTube videos out there. And then number 5, gets on with it. Here's what I'm gonna flip. Just right here is my favorite. Like, would you rather be the person that gets on with it, gets it done, or the person that just waits and hopes? I was in a very long-term relationship. Like, this sounds really silly because I was really young, all the way from my freshman year of high school at 13 years old until I graduated college. We had bought cars together, we had house shopped, like the whole thing. And the relationship fell apart. For then, like the next couple years, I was the wait and hope. Like life was just happening to me. I didn't care. I was living in California at the time and was just like, well, I don't know what to do. I guess we'll move back to Missouri. You know, who cares? That was like a really tough time in life. I got into some really stupid stuff, you know, and really didn't get on with it at all. Once I finally took some accountability around it, thanks to a mentor of mine who happened to be a Springfield police officer and dealt with a lot of people like me, we got on with it, right? And things significantly started to change. So accountability, even though it feels funky inside of your business, ends up becoming one of the most important tools that you can have. 2 things that you need for accountability though. Number 1 is a tracker. You have to track your activities, right? It's like, how do you know what you like need change on? It's like, you need to track. How many people did I contact? Where did those contacts come from? Right? Just like what Jordan was talking about. I know if I pull this list, I make this many contacts, I'll get this and I'll end up with those appointments, and 2.5 appointments are going to give me a listing, right? So you'll need tracking. Tracking can be both manual and it can be automated. KW Connect will automate some of your tracking. If you make your phone calls, do text messages, stuff like that through that. If not, you got to track it. My team is extremely manual. I don't make people use the CRM connected cell phone numbers. I just don't. Like, they can utilize whatever they want. They report their numbers every single day, right? Those numbers get in a centralized spreadsheet. That way we know. So if you need, number 1, to track your numbers. If you don't know what numbers to track, that's coming. We'll talk about it. Number 2, you need an accountability partner. You need someone in your life. It could be a spouse, it could be a sibling, it could be a friend, it could be someone else in this room that's going to help you maintain focus or, again, intentionality around hitting your numbers. So we don't want blinders on. We want intentionality. We want time blocking. We want not focus. Again, I hate that word. We really just want to make sure that our partner is doing what they said they would do. Now, if Clayton and I are partners and I'm going to Florida, Clayton doesn't have to be like, hey, Wes, I know you're on vacation. Did you make your contacts today? Like, duh. Like, we can still be humans, right? But the important piece about the accountability partner is when we start falling behind, that person now has a vested interest in you to make sure that you're getting ahead. It's like my coach is my accountability partner. Helps that I have a team because they hold me really accountable and they actually love holding me accountable. It's uncomfortable sometimes. But looking at it, I would say 2 things. You have to track or have a tracker somehow. Number 2, you have to have some kind of partner. All right. Number, not number. Happiness is not an individual sport. There you go. Takes a team. I would also say that your business success is not an individual sport. I would say if you make it one, it's gonna be really hard to sustain it. Like, this business can get lonely. All right, at this point, we have hit our 6 personal perspectives. Does anyone have anything they want to say at this point? Anything that you guys liked? Anything you guys had a question about? We are an open book up here. We hated it. Cool, we'll keep cooking.
Oh, it's on the 20%. I love that. I hadn't thought about that. Like, you hear about the 20/80 a lot, and I mean, SOIs, I spend a lot of time trying to do lead gen over the phone just on cold calls, but then like actually SOIs where I've gotten anything that I've done so far. So,
Clayton, are you into any hobbies?
yeah, absolutely. What? I'm pretty much anything outdoors and golf. Yeah.
Perfect, okay, so you should then be spending your time, instead of cold calling, doing all of that with those people.
Right.
It's so simple, like your lead generation life will change. So like on our team, if you produce a certain number or more, we give like certain rewards, right? So for our 4 top producers, every year we give $3,000 toward any like club or sport or anything that they want to do, as long as they interact with people. So like if they're like, I want to play video games and just by myself in my closet, I'm like, I'm not paying for that. Right? But we have one guy, Josh, my business partner, where our company pays $5,000 a year for him to sponsor the Missouri Kayakers Bass Fishing Club or whatever. So like our logo's on it, Josh is known in it. He gets deals all the time, and his entire goal there is to go fish, to win, have a good time, and hang out with the guys. Like, how cool is that? Tawny, on the other hand, is like Miss Boutique Queen, right? So she's super intentional in Republic, and she creates relationships in all like the small shops and boutiques. Our team actually pays her to go shop at boutiques and to market with them. So she'll come and say, okay, I don't even know what their names are, some boutique, whatever. She's gonna go there, do like a pop-up where she's there. She's gonna bring a food truck there. There's gonna be a live DJ. The whole thing's gonna cost $1,000. The team pays for the whole thing. That boutique then blasts it all over their Facebook pages. Everyone that comes has to stop at her to check in, get a free drink ticket or whatever it is, right? So whatever it might be, do those things. Like if you're getting business from those people. Another one that is super common in our area, because there's more churches here than like anything else, period, is a lot of people start diving deeper into their communities that they're already in. Now, that sounds like a double-sided kind of conversation of like, use your church for business. It's not at all what I mean. Your closest relationships likely come from people that you share spiritual experiences with, right? So it gets really uncomfortable when you're sharing spiritual experiences with someone and then they don't use you as an agent. That then starts to separate friendships, whether you like it or not. Like it's just weird, right? Exercise is another one. Instead of working out alone, maybe you start working out in groups, or you bring an accountability partner with you. You start cultivating relationships in your exercise. Whatever it might be, dive deeper into those communities. So if we went extreme Pareto for you, your life might get more fun. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like that's awesome. For Jordan back there, that poor boy's on the phone longer than anyone, right? But that's what he loves. He's good.
I take girlfriends to brunch
That's what I'm talking about.
and I get referrals from them.
Yeah, you do.
The person
Absolutely.
that has referred the most clients to me, I've never done a deal with her.
Mhm.
I told her and her husband that it really, what they told me they wanted to make a good financial decision. I said, guys, this is not a great decision. You're going from a 3-year-old home to a 13-year-old home, doing a lateral move, and gotten tons of deals from them. So when we do brunch every few months and.
Perfect. Yeah, whatever it might be. Wine and movies. My referral partner in Lee Summit area, she does a bachelorette night or bachelor night with her girls, and she buys all the wine and she gets custom labeled wine bottles. So all the girls come in as a custom label on the wine bottle. It's like $25. You pay for the wine and the label. The label's $25. but it's got like her information on it, and it's like, yeah, that's some cute thing, and it's just this whole to-do, so like every week when a new episode's out, all the girls are at her house. She's gotten to 70 girls. She started renting a movie theater to watch them. How crazy is that? Like, so cool, like, just something she liked to do, turned it into a full massive stream of income. All right, I gotta move quick. This is very important, but what we talked about is more important. This is the KW culture segment. I love Keller Williams. I interviewed 13 brokerages before I picked Keller Williams. Some of the brokerages I interviewed when I got my license are no longer in business. Fun fact, I got turned down by the Keller Williams in Joplin. Yeah, didn't know Keller Williams turned people down, but I got turned down. So all of that to say, I was not a big fan of Keller Williams, so I was going anywhere else other than Keller Williams because they were my first choice. And then I'll never forget the team leader out there, or the interim team leader, told me I didn't have what it takes to make it at Keller Williams. And I said, screw you, Ed. And so we went ahead and I went to join Coldwell Banker. At the time, a guy named Art Maxwell, who's an amazing man, was their managing broker. So I showed up, suit and tie, the Coldwell Banker style, blue suit, by the way, because that was Coldwell's thing. I don't know if you guys know this, but real estate agents used to have dress codes. Pretty crazy. Anyway, so walked in, I'm in my blue suit. My uncle owns a Coldwell Banker franchise, just for the record. So like, I was baptized in the blue, like I was going to be it. I roll in, Art's like, you are 30 years younger than anyone on my staff. Like, you can't office here. He's like, you got to go check out Keller Williams. I'm like, I'm good, man. I hate Keller Williams, you know? And so I went to Murney, didn't really love Murney, went all the way around town, finally came back to Keller Williams, and Melinda Love was the Rachel at that time. And Melinda Love signed me. She was the only one there because everyone else was at family reunion. I didn't know that. So she signed me, and I started with Keller Williams. Obviously, Keller Williams has changed my life. Keller Williams has made many, many people a lot of money, but what they've actually done better than that is they've made many, many people into better people, right? So let's talk through some of those things. KW culture, the MVVBP, the mission, vision, values, beliefs, and perspectives of Keller Williams. We're going to run you through what the company stands for. The next, we're going to talk about Red Day, which we just had. We'll talk about KW Cares charity, the KW Kids Can charity, the DEI initiatives, and the new, I think they just launched like a full-on course too, which is pretty cool. And then what cultural ambassadorship means. We have 2 ambassadors that have come from this office, Mr. Carrie Prater and Amy Malaya. Amy brought you into this business, huh? That's right. That's what I thought. I remember that. All right, here we go. MVVBP. First thing, can someone read this out loud for me?
Mission: to build careers worth having, businesses worth owning, lives worth living, experiences worth giving, and legacies worth leaving.
I love it. All right, right off the cuff, what's your guys' favorite line? There's no wrong answer here.
Lives worth living, probably.
Legacy's worth leaving.
Legacies are leaving. I like that a lot too. Anyone else?
Businesses worth owning. There's not enough good bosses out there anymore.
It's a good one. I know it. I know it. I love it. They added experiences worth giving and legacies worth leaving a lot when those weren't in when I started. I love that they added the 2. The experiences one is unique, partially because Gary defines a worthy experience as something you've done to change someone else's life. I really like that. Then legacies worth leaving is another fun one. Keller Williams has launched a KW Wealth Initiative, which I can't speak highly enough of the guy that's running it. Brett Tanner is an absolute monster. He is so fun. He's easy to listen to, and he teaches high level real estate investing, but then he also brings it down super accessible and teaches you how to do it inside of your team or inside of your real estate career. Like, KW Wealth is phenomenal, worth every penny. I think it's like $149 a month. It's a full mastermind group. It's weekly calls. It's studly stuff. Anyway, that's our mission statement. All right, KW belief system. I'm going to rip through these quick. That way we can continue moving on. They are very important. You hear them a lot, I bet. Win-win or no deal. If you find yourself in a win-lose situation, please get out of it. Integrity, do the right thing. This is not only when other people aren't watching. The reason is in our industry, everyone's watching, whether you know it or not. Someone's watching, and it's kind of like high school hallways around here. Like, if someone does something else, then everyone just magically knows. So be the very best you can be in every possible situation. If you find yourself in a situation where you could have a little sleight of hand, or it's just a funky situation, number one, take the hit. Like, be the first to lay yourself down. Every time our team does that, hey, the commission dispute, whatever it is, hey, no problem, we'll take care of it. If client had this issue, or the agent didn't disclose something, whatever it is, hey, no problem, we'll figure it out. If you adopt that approach of you'll lay down first, you are actually going to end up winning a lot of things. And the first thing you're going to win is going to be in your connection with other agents, which is so important in this industry. We get so many deals because people like doing deals with us, right? Continue to grow those relationships through your integrity. Customers always come first. I like to cross out the C for customers and write clients. The reason is in our industry, there's a difference between a customer and a client. Does anyone know the difference between a customer and a client? That's right. That's right. So in my business, clients are going to come before customers. Anyway, what this is talking about is fiduciary duty. You exist to serve, not to be served in this industry. Commitment in all things. We've already talked about self-mastery, right? That's largely what this is about. The second is play all in, right? So if you're here in this market center, play all in this market center. If it's hard to get here, I totally understand. It is hard to get here. Even I live 4 minutes away. It's hard to get here sometimes. No problem. But playing all in allows a couple things to happen. Number one, you start to get other opportunities inside of Keller Williams. It's kind of fun, right? Doesn't mean that you're like guaranteed them. But number two, you actually start to learn and grow. You get kind of pushed via the camaraderie. Communication, seek first to understand. We work on written agreements. As you guys know, written agreements are not always the clearest things ever. So what we have to do is we have to focus on understanding the counterpart and their meanings, both in our clients and in the other agents we're dealing with. Also, in your market center. So one thing about Keller Williams I talked about is the market center is built around the MREA's models, right, to learn and grow. Well, fun fact, our businesses and our industry changes a lot. So our market center actually changes a lot. Different structures, like they just implemented a team cap model, which is really painful for me. It cost me way more money. But at the end of the day, it's actually better for the market center and it'll actually further our business. When they first announced it, I was like, no, like I don't want to pay more money to be here. But then when we figured out what was actually going on there, I understood it. So in that communication piece, in that commitment piece, inside the market center, we have a thing called the ALC. And we're going to talk about that, but that's the Associate Leadership Council. We have an investor group, and then we have an ALC. We don't have a board of directors. Okay. So our investor group is accountable to our ALC. When we want to do something that changes the business in any you know what I'm trying to say. Anyway, we have to bring it to the ALC. The ALC discusses and votes on it. Who's on the ALC? You have to be in the business for over a year, just in the business. Number two, you have to be a capper. Okay. Then you get elected or you get nominated for the ALC via peers or by the market center staff. And then you'll get voted on and confirmed, right? So it is actually like a little position. And we rely on you guys as ALC members, as investors, because we are looking out for two things. Number one, how do we maximize profit share? So half of all of this company's profit is given directly back to our agents. I don't know if you guys know the profit sharing system here. We gave back last year almost $500,000 to our agents that was produced in this building. So this isn't like some rev share or like stock options. It's like cold hard cash. Here you go. Here's cash. You know, so there are all kinds of opportunities inside of the profit sharing model. But as an investor group, we're trying to maximize profit share and we're trying to maximize the number of people we can impact as a brokerage, whether that's through directly recruiting them or through reaching out and working with other brokerages and really trying to be cooperative in a spirit. So when we're looking at what we're doing, and then we take that and try to overlay it over a whole brokerage, sometimes we miss things, right? That's where the ALC steps in. They like to audit and they like to fight. Each ALC member is a different chair. So it could be chair of growth, it could be chair of education, it could be chair of Red Day, which we'll talk about soon. Equity or inclusion, DEI, basically. There's all kinds of these different chairs. I think we have like 11 chairs, right? So you'll actually run a committee where you have other committee members that you work with to try to push initiatives inside of the market center as voted on by your peers. It is awesome. It creates a ton of commitment and ton of community inside of this place. All right, creativity, communication, seek first to understand. I think we talked about that. Creativity, ideas before results. This is what we talk about failing. Part of our culture right here is to be creative and to fail. Like Like you should be implementing ideas before you see results, right? Don't hesitate to ask people to work on things, to try something new. As long as it's within the rules, let's try it, right? Of course, you can send handwritten notes. Did anyone say I couldn't automate it and send 10,000 a month? No, try that, creativity before results. Teamwork together, everyone achieves more. We are building businesses, whether an individual or team. If you want to build a team, we encourage you to do so. This market center runs as a team. Teams are a heartbeat inside of Keller Williams, but it does not require that you be a team. You can absolutely be an individual agent and knock it out of the park. Trust starts with honesty. This is an interesting one. Again, I've talked about how kind of snaky our industry is just in general. One of the ways to avoid that in your business is to actually shoot people straight. Is to just be honest, right? If you say you're going to do something, do it. That will grow connection and network inside of our industry. Some of my best friends aren't out of this brokerage, right? These were people I didn't know years ago, and we've cultivated relationships through doing transactions together. So now we go out, we hang out, we have fun. There's a ton of trust. And if I ever need something, I know I can reach out to them and it'll get done, right? And likewise, they lean on me. Hey, I've got a problem deal. Can one of your investors buy it? Absolutely, right? There's all kinds of opportunities there. Speaking of opportunities, equity. Keller Williams has launched a massive DEI campaign. So in the wake of what happened with George Floyd, right away, all of us market center leaders got engaged in finding ways to cultivate opportunities for not only, different races, but different ethnic groups, religions, sexualities, whatever it might be. So Keller Williams is not the place to say, hey, you're not allowed here. It's actually the opposite. It's the place to say, you're allowed here and let's figure out how we can have opportunities together, right? It's a really interesting take on corporate management too. Jen Davis, who offices here, she's part of our brokerage. She is actually the president of MAPS Coaching. So MAPS is the largest real estate coaching company in the world. It's owned by Keller Williams. She is the president of it. So she's in the top 6 of their entire company, right? Years ago, there wasn't a single woman, let alone anyone that wasn't a white male in the top of this company. Now, was it intentional that way? I couldn't tell you. I don't know. But now we have different ethnic groups. We have different religions and races. And of course, now we have both men and women. It's pretty awesome. Pretty awesome. The other side of that token is Keller Williams internally has something called the Rainbow Network. I don't know if you guys have ever heard of this. It is the largest referral network in the world, period, bar none, full stop. More business transacts through the Rainbow Network than anything else. The Rainbow Network, as you might assume, is LGBTQ and every other initial friendly. And because of that, they like to refer to one another. I totally understand that, right? Just like if I had to choose and I had someone who was, X religion and die hard in that religion, I'd probably try to find a broker or agent that would be, somehow inclusive to that, right? So this Rainbow Network was huge. It was never sanctioned by Keller Williams until 2 years ago. Keller Williams opened up the space and said, oh my goodness, how is this right under our nose? We didn't know about it, and opened up an entire basically like network that you can join now. It is freaking phenomenal. Out of everyone in the company, they are the nicest and they have the most fun, like full stop, and they do a ton of business. Some of our company's largest producers run that network, and it's pretty amazing. The last thing is our very own Dan Holt and I were up in Chicago. What were we doing there? We were goofing around. No, we were taking a training course, and he and I are sitting in the lobby, snowed in Chicago, nothing to do, everything's closed, except for a gas station across the street. And the hotel bar was closed. And of course I looked at Dan and I'm like, we need to go get some beers, don't we? And he's like, yeah, we do. So I run over, get some beers. I called my wife, said hi. He ran across the street. He came back. There's these 2 just buff black dudes sitting at a table. And I was like, it's the only table in this little tiny hotel too. And I'm like, they're drinking with us, Dan, come on. So we go sit down, we crack open beers, we hand it to them. They're working. And I noticed one of them has like an MLS or it was Zillow pulled up. And so I was like, oh, are you looking at real estate? And he's like, kinda. And I'm like, okay, what does that mean? We sell real estate. And he goes, oh yeah, we do too. And immediately Dan like triggers. He's like, gets wild. And if you guys don't know Dan Holt, you need to. He is so much fun. So he's just triggered. He's like, oh my gosh, opportunity. They need to be a part of Keller Williams. Just changed his life, it changed Wes's life, we can do this. And so we find out they are the top 2 in Baird and Warner. Baird and Warner is the largest boutique brokerage in all of Illinois, and they've now expanded into Detroit and Baltimore as well. So this is massive boutique brokerage is number 1 and 2 in all of Chicago we're sitting with. And so we just start drinking beers and start talking real estate, right? By the end of it, they committed to come to the training course with us. 2 weeks later, they joined Keller Williams. And they have now started in downtown Chicago in South Loop, the largest and only Black-owned brokerage in all of Keller Williams. And they have recruited something around 47 agents to that brokerage in the last 2.5 months. They are literally setting records in Chicago right now. And it was all over. We opened up an opportunity for them to go from leading their boutique brokerage, which by the way, they were salaried at, kind of wild, to then open up their own Keller Williams to where they were actually getting paid for the activities they were doing. Super cool. And they're just the coolest dudes ever too. Just absolutely Chicago through and through, you know. All right, success, results through people. At the end of the day, what we're doing here, it's not about you. And if you think it's about you, you're wrong. It's always about those around you. So our success is not only had for other people, it's had through other people. Lean on one another, lean on the people in this brokerage, the trainers, the content, whatever it is, and let's grow together. All right, Red Day, renew, energize, and donate. Red Day is May somethingth, May 10th, May 9th. Here it is, second Thursday of every May. And we break it down, and this year we built beds. Was anyone here for the bed building? Heck yeah, it was a good time, huh? It was a lot of work.
Yeah, it was.
We impacted a lot of people. So Red Day every year, our ALC chair peoples, they find a charity to partner with. The year before was Dogwood Ranch, which is one of the guys on my team, his in-laws run Dogwood Ranch. And so we partnered with them. We had a whole ranch cleanup day. It was a lot of work too. Then we did the bed build, which I really appreciated. But one of the cool things is the amount of money we're raising for these charities is really crazy. When I started, it was like, we hit like $8,000 as a big deal. You know, I think this year we were at like 40 grand, right? 30. It's a ton of money. So absolutely awesome. And we paired that with actually doing something. Most KWs, they basically just get together, have a cookout and try to raise money. That's it. So it's really neat what we're doing. KW Cares is a 501c3 that's internal to all of Keller Williams. Think of KW Cares as our internal convoy of hope. So KW Cares has 41 semi trucks that are loaded and stocked at all times for natural disasters. They have mobile market centers built now inside of these semi trucks, and they also have buses. So this is kind of crazy. So if you remember Houston, when Houston flooded, that was Houston, right? Yeah, it was Houston. So when Houston flooded, basically KW Cares was the second on scene, and they were literally trailing Convoy of Hope. Think about that. Convoy is known as the quickest to respond in any disaster. KW Cares and Convoy of Hope were trading semi-space, trying to enter Houston. Pretty crazy, right? Inside of that, what we do then is we get into the affected areas. KW Cares then targets the market centers and the agents inside of KW to assist. So when Joplin happened, KW Cares was on scene. They immediately set up a mobile market center and a mobile title company. Think about this, so they could still transact real estate. Just because the majority of the town was destroyed didn't mean all of the surrounding area was. So they still had deals going. Some agents lost their homes, so they immediately went to start working on those agents' homes and provided temporary shelter for the agents. The other thing they do is if they lost income based on the natural disaster, KW Cares will actually fund that income. It's pretty incredible. So if you think about it, if a house gets wiped out, buyer's probably not buying the house, right? Seller's probably filing an insurance claim, and that contract can hold together, but it might take 9, 10 months before you either see money or a house rebuilt, right? If you're lucky. Whereas what ended up happening here is most of all deals in Joplin, people just walked away. I mean, it's kind of the typical response, right? So then all the agents who had the deals under contract don't have any income. So that's really fun, especially if you're running a team and you can't pay your people, right? So KW Care steps in, they actually take care of those commissions for you. They actually pay you those commissions. They assist with ongoing, they set up a mobile market center, and then they also then go to the agents' homes and they begin rebuilding and gutting or fixing or doing anything they can for those agents. They also then, once they've accomplished what they're needing to with the agent population and the market center, they begin targeting the homes that were listed by KW agents to assist there. and then other clients after that. So in Houston, it got to the point where we had so many Keller Williams people there, so many were bussed in, flown in, that they didn't know where to put us. So they just started, FEMA started giving us entire blocks. And they just said, this is like Keller Williams is blocked off for this. So just all of us agents in boots and gloves and sweaty and sticky and mosquito bites everywhere and sunburn went and we were mucking out these homes that had flooded. You know, it was actually really cool. So KW Cares is one of those charities that if I die and my wife die and my kids die and the money is in our trust gets dispersed, they call it the final disbursement. It goes into an account that is invested in all the earnings out of that account go directly into KW Cares. It's pretty cool. KW Kids Can is similar. KW Kids Can is an educational charity built specifically around helping kids get these messages we've been talking about at a younger age. If you guys know anything about the education system, a lot of times we teach kids facts. We don't teach kids life skills. And so KW Kids Can is literally built around bringing hands-on life skills, things like finances, mindset, what it means to be a business owner, tax information is kind of wild. It actually teaches kids taxes. It actually brings this education hands-on around the nation. If you donate to KW Kids Can, it also helps out with certain special needs situations. So if an agent has a special needs child, sometimes KW Kids can partner in their education if they need special attention or if the agent can't afford certain things because of outstanding situations. So it's kind of a cool charity. All right. Any questions on those? I really, really love those things. I'm like way behind, aren't I? No, we're getting there. All right, we win a lot of awards. On the win a lot of awards side, we have the triple crown, they call it. We have the most agents, we sell the most in volume, and we sell the most transactions out of any brokerage. Now that's KW, like big KW. So take it as you will. Whatever. 200,000 agents, roughly 1,100 market centers. Here's a list of training for you guys. I'm sure you guys have this somewhere in there. This is some of the basic stuff. If you get the opportunity to, always attend family reunion and mega camp. Two largest training events, period. Breakout sessions, networking. They're usually in cool places. I think family reunion is Vegas. Mega camp is always Austin, Texas, down near headquarters. I do not miss them unless I absolutely have to. So absolutely amazing, amazing events. You learn more than ever. You get to see people from all around the nation, all around the world, actually, and how they're transacting business. It's pretty awesome. Command app. Yeah, I'm not talking about that. You guys figure that out. Our market center. I love this. There's nothing on it. So cool. Okay. I'm gonna leave here on the blank side for a second. I'll walk you guys through this. Our MVP as a market center is the exact same. We are #1 in closed units right now. We just edged out Murray finally. That also doesn't include Branson KW. So Murray includes kind of the whole region. They run it all under one name. We only run Springfield's KW under our name. Springfield's KW has edged out all of Murray for a number of units sold. That is huge for our brokerage. Like absolutely amazing. We're still a little bit behind on volume, but we've edged them out on units. The second piece is we're still behind them on agent count. What that means is our agents on average sell more homes than their agents. Now I'm comparing to Murray because we're the largest two in the area. There's plenty of other great brokerages in town. I don't know their stats. Murray is our #1 competitor. So we're focusing on them for just the sake of comparison. They've been a behemoth in the area for a long time. We have finally edged them out, and we're 20 years into this game. They're roughly 40 years into the game, I think 50 years into the game. So when you look at it, we're growing at a fast pace. It's awesome. As the market shifts, what we're going to start doing is focusing more on the training and the education, the equipping side. That way people can get through some of the painful times that might be ahead. Might be. I don't know. I don't see them right away, but they might be ahead. All right, we've talked about that. Leadership team. I want to walk you through these positions real quick. The operating principal, the OP, stands between the investor group as an investor. The OP typically is an investor, and the market center leadership. So our OP is Mr. Dan Holt. I've mentioned him before. You can call him Boot Scoop Boogie. I don't know, whatever, you can call him whatever you want. He's a great guy, really passionate about Keller Williams, sells a lot of real estate, really funny, good dude. Our team leader is kind of an open spot right now. We have a co-team leader and we're looking for someone who's going to be really targeting the recruiting and growing of the market center. We have a guy named Mike Brown sitting in the co-team leader role. Between the OP and the team leader is a position that we call the market center manager or general manager. This doesn't have it in here, but they kind of sit like right here. They take the OP's vision and they assist the team leader in implementing it. That's Rachel Lusk's. Rachel Watson, there we go. She's married now. Absolute freak of nature, by the way. She is a stud. So she kind of keeps the leadership team on board and she manages our business. The assistant team leader is Jason Massengale. He's focused out of the Nixa office. Jason is a wonderful guy, MAPS coach as well. Market center administrator is Mr. Landon Mabe. Landon, again, absolute stud, great guy. Market center tech trainer is Nicole. She's kind of also like our director of agent services to tech trainer. I don't even know what you want to call her. But Nicole Deem, recently married as well. So got that one right this time. My wife grew up with old Nicole Migliazzo. She's now Nicole Deem, but fantastic nonetheless. And then our office also has in-house transaction coordination. We have a couple other in-house services, sign running, that kind of thing. Really anything you might need. We do in-house marketing for you guys. If you need help setting up your Keller Williams command, yada, yada. And then we have a PC coach. That's our productivity coach, Miss Shanna Blummel. She's the one that spoke and introduced me. I am not going to get into all your ALC members because I don't know all their chair roles. For investors, you've got myself, Dan Holt, Adam Grady, and Rhett Smiley. Don Klepper also owns a portion of the company. And then we have a few who are not local that helped start this company that still holds some ownership. So, all right, the next thing I'm going to talk about is profit share. I'm going to be quick here because I really love it, but profit and growth share are kind of the same thing. So we're just going to call it profit share. Number one, when the local market center makes money, right, we do it by splitting commissions with agents. So if you haven't capped yet, you're going to pay a portion of your commission to the market center, right? Obviously, once you cap, everything after that's 100%. And that's the glorious place to be. But in the drudgery, we have to split, right? That split goes into paying for the building, all kinds of expenses. So we run a model where essentially 60% of all the income that comes directly into this brokerage gets put right back into the brokerage. Okay, so that's by paying people like Rachel, Shanna, all them to assist our agents, but then also paying for literal, like the brokerage, like the utility bills, like the toilet's leaking, we have to fix it. So like literal stuff, right? Taxes, taxes. There's also then left with some income because we have a great brokerage. So keep in mind, the larger this brokerage gets, the more profit we can share, okay? It's like that's huge. There's a lot of KWs that don't have any profit share, right? There's a lot of other companies that offer things like profit share that are restricted. You can't like just cash it in and use it as money. So our profit share right away only comes from our company, our Keller Williams Springfield, making money. Once we've made money, we've paid all of our bills, there's left a pool. That pool of money basically gets split 50-50. That's like 48-50. There's a whole calculation. It's too hard for me to get into. I couldn't even tell you if I wanted to. Roughly 50-50. It's like 49-51 sometimes, whatever. And half goes to our agents and half goes to the actual investors, okay? So full transparency, investing in this market center is my least profitable investment, period, bar none. I have like crappy rental houses on the north side that do way better than the money I spent here, okay? But I bought here because I love this place. I love what it's done and I love what it can do for people. So, okay, that aside, we give money back. Who does that money go to? It goes to the people who brought on or helped assist in bringing someone to Keller Williams, whether that was a new agent or an experienced agent, okay? So for instance, I recruited a guy named Blake Cook. You guys know Blake Cook? Yeah. He's a good boy. I love Blake. So Blake was at a competitor. One of his friends, I recruited one of his friends, and recruiting's a really hard word. Like the friend was unhappy, called me, said, "How do you like Keller Williams?" I said, "You should come over here." He's like, "Okay," and then came over here, right? So like, that's recruiting. You know, it's like, I don't like cold call people like, "You need to come to KW." This is not how this works. And if you do that, just please, dear God, stop. Just go be a great person and have relationships. But I brought Nathan over. Nathan joined. He was here for a little bit, ended up leaving. No problem. Like, no hard feelings. Like, Keller Williams is not for everyone. I don't think it is. I think it can be for everyone. And I think it provides more value than people will allow it to provide. Nonetheless, we brought Blake over. When Blake produces and pays in cap dollars, right? And that month, the company is profitable, I will get a little bit of that profit, not Blake's money, but the company's profit. Okay, so if the company's not profitable and there's no profit, but Blake brought in cap dollars, I wouldn't get anything because there's no profit in the company. So it's kind of a tricky way, and there's like a whole calculation behind it. The actual truth of it is Keller Williams corporate is what tracks it. So like we do all of our books, then we send the money to corporate, and corporate then distributes to the agents. We don't do that. Okay, so we literally just have to send a big check to them. And they distribute to all the agents. They do all the calculations. They make sure all of our numbers are perfect. We get audited every single month by corporate. So most franchises get audited twice a year. We get audited monthly. We have a full book close monthly, and we run on the accrual basis. So that means there's not a whole lot of funny business that can happen of like pre-writing off expenses. Like we kind of can like budget for them, but like cash accounting, I can just like pay next month's credit card bill today and write it all off this month. In accrual, I can't. So it's a whole different manner of bookkeeping and accountability inside of the KW franchise. When the franchise makes money, they distribute to the people that recruited people who produce money that month. Is that fair? Is that simple enough? It's really uncomfortably hard to explain, but I could illustrate it. We could take time with it. There are entire classes KW teaches if you want to. It's awesome. Over the years, I've done a little bit of direct recruiting, not a lot. In the direct recruiting I've done, only a few of those people have stayed with the company. The non-direct recruits have stayed the whole time. They haven't left me yet. Not me, but the company. That being said, being a good person in your industry and in your network, it means way more than cold calling people trying to get them to come to KW. Okay, don't do that. Now, profit share, no financial risk. It is literally a direct deposit to you. You can lose it, I guess, if the people leave KW, then they wouldn't produce and you wouldn't get a cut. But there's no financial risk. You don't have to invest anything to get it. You don't have to like lock in with KW forever, that kind of thing. Like if you're here, you recruited someone, they produce, the company's profitable, you'll get a chunk of that profit. Okay, it's super simple. I think last year I ended up with like $23,000 from them. And I only had like a couple people that I directly recruited. They then had a couple people too, and then they had a couple people. So it goes 7 layers deep. So you can actually like build out a really solid income stream just by like friends and family and like people wanting to join. Like you can build a huge amount of income. No legal risk. You don't have to do anything. You don't sign anything. This is given to you, okay? This isn't like a multi-level marketing type deal. This is literally like, hey, the company was profitable. You helped grow the company this month. Here's some money. Like it's really cool. No down payment. So you don't have to, there's no buy-in, no phone calls. So the people that you bring in, you don't have to like mentor them to get this. Like the office is set up in a way that they can just jump right into classes like this and grow, and you can receive income from their production. So I said that wrong. You do not receive income from their production. You receive income from the company if they produce in the month the company's profitable. Pretty straightforward. Now, once they've capped and they're not paying the company anything, you don't get anything from them anymore, right? Because they've capped. They're not paying the company that month. So long story short, there is a way at Keller Williams. 15 minutes over time, so I totally get it. There's a way at Keller Williams to not pay any dollars to the company, and that is through profit share. So I told you guys I made 22,000. My cap's 20 grand. This year I got paid $2,000 to be at Keller Williams. Kind of cool. So when other brokerages call to recruit me, I'm like, well, will you pay me every year to be a part of your brokerage? Because I kind of didn't do anything for this and they're still paying me, And they're like, yeah, we can't match that. The best we do is 90-10. And I'm like, yeah, it's not going to work for me, right? So profit share is a huge portion of our culture and a huge driver behind what we do. There's a lot of stuff here. Keller Williams, parent company, KWX, owns a mortgage, property management, insurance, and direct buyer programs. You can plug into those. Don't get lost on those yet. Here are the different communities: DEI, commercial land, luxury, military, new homes, KW sports and entertainment, young professionals. These are all fantastic. There's not a one of these that I would say you shouldn't join. I would say, don't join all of them. Join the one that would be most applicable to you. So for instance, KW Commercial is one I've been looking at. I sell a lot of commercial real estate. And that might be one I jump into.
I thought KW Luxury was invite only.
KW Luxury is invite, but it's once you produce a certain amount of deals. So I think for us, it's like 700,000 is the number. It's like once you do like 3 in a year, you get an invite. Yeah. So you still have to like, for each of these, you have to qualify. So you have to like sell a certain amount of commercial, sell a certain amount of land, luxury. You have to be military or paramilitary or serve the military community in a unique manner. So like I speak at military events for surrounding real estate investment. So it's kind of a weird niche I've fallen into. So I could join KW military, but I'm like, I'm not military. Like I kind of speak the language, but I'm really dumb, you know? Sports and entertainment, I don't do anything with that. KW Young Professionals, that's an awesome organization. I should have joined that years ago. I would now be like one of the older people in it. I'm not sure I'm too keen on that yet. All right, your career vision. Oh, wow, that is a good exercise. Yeah. I don't have the time to walk you guys through. That's gonna take like half hour. We're gonna skip that. Don't tell Shannon. All right, so I'll give you the gist of what this is. This is a walk, this is a visioning. So usually I would make you guys all close your eyes, put your head on your desk, get comfortable. We take a bunch of deep breaths together, and it'd be really creepy, and then you tell me all your deepest, darkest secrets. We would do a visioning exercise, and we would walk you through, today is you 1 year from now. So today is June 6th, 2024. Your business is thriving. It's everything you've dreamed of. You're rookie of the year. You've hired an assistant. You're focusing on your 20%. We read all these things, right? You are on the path to this. So it's this visioning exercise, and I would encourage you guys to do this on your own. Do you guys have this page, by the way? 47. Okay. I would encourage you guys to do this one. This, you might earmark this as homework. This is useful. I do it annually. It sounds really dumb, but like every year I've done it. Like, and I've mostly accomplished what I vision out. It's really cool. Most people overestimate what they can do in a year, but underestimate what they can do in 5. Okay. So this is fun because it's very like practical. It's giving you like step-by-steps here. Then you're going to write it down. Okay. So you're going to write down like what you're doing. Sarah and Hunter, donate cat habitat. That's awesome. Pay off your mortgage or whatever it is. So you're going to write your income number, and you're going to tell, you know, what you're going to do with that money. And you're going to vision out these things that are happening in your life, right? And the reason we do that is this is going to give us that inspiration and motivation. So to achieve success, you need motivation and inspiration for doing it, AKA your big why. There's another method of doing this in the Millionaire Real Estate Agent. I don't necessarily have it, but it's in Think a Million, the first section, and it's got 7 boxes, and those 7 boxes are all pointing up, right? And you start at the bottom, and you kind of write out your different like reasons for joining real estate, and then you kind of try to culminate them into a single statement or a single exercise or a single goal, right? It's super, super helpful. It becomes this purpose for you, something that you can kind of hold on to. So mine is to create environments and opportunities for other people to thrive in real estate and in life. So that's my filter. Am I going to do it? Will it create an environment for another person to thrive in real estate or in life? Okay, yes, it will. Great, I'll do it. So when I joked about this being in my 80%, it's actually not. This is dead center in my 20%. Does that make sense? Okay. So we like to, I love the big why, the motivation and inspiration exercises, because it allows you to determine whether or not the activities you're taking are accurate, right? If I was laying on the beach with 2 shots of Dark Myers rum and a splash of pineapple juice, I would not be operating in my big why. I would not be creating environments for people to thrive, right? Okay, pretty straightforward, very helpful for you guys. All right, commission dollars. This is pretty funny. I don't know why all of a sudden we're talking about this, but we're gonna do it. And if you guys need to leave, just leave. I'm way over at this point, but I have a babysitter. So, number 1. And like I said, I'm a wide open book. So if you guys really want to get into some, let me know and we can get into it. First of all, selling on commission is like the best thing ever. I'm convinced it's going to give you more skills than anything you could possibly just choose to do. Like interpersonal, people, whatever it is. The first thing, when we list a house, we list it roughly 6%. This is not an endorsement for a set commission rate. But you're gonna split that immediately with the buyer's agent if you have the listing, or if you're the buyer, you get half that listing agent commission, right? Sellers in our area pay. So that means the seller's paying the buyer's agent, the seller's paying the listing agent. So if you're 6% listing, if you get it dual agent, you're like, let's go, baby, we're keeping it all. Most likely you're splitting it. And then you're splitting it again with the market center, right? And then you're paying for business expenses. By the way, pro tip, even if you are just a solo brand new agent, like fresh out of daisy, you can look at 2 tax structures for your business. The first is just a simple LLC, called a pass-through LLC, okay? You'll be taxed as normal income, but you'll have the protection of an LLC. So the company will pay you, Keller Williams will pay Clayton his commission check, Clayton will take it and deposit into Clayton LLC, or in my case, West Litton Consulting, right? So then at the end of the year, West Litton Consulting, or no, excuse me, West Litton sends West Litton Consulting at 1099, right? So it's passed through. In other words, we're gonna tax the LLC, we're not gonna tax West. But by taxing the LLC, we're taxing West, right? So we get some protection inside that LLC. I then go open an American Express card with that LLC. American Express will basically roughly give you like an auto approval up to like $500,000 on a credit card, right? Or if you go to Business Select, $25,000, okay? Now, why a credit card? Because we're gonna run our expenses on the credit card. Now, we're not running like abnormal expenses. We're gonna run some expenses on the credit card. 2 reasons why. Number one, additional protection on the credit card, right? So if you order signs, they come in broken and the manufacturer won't refund them, your credit card a lot of times will. Number 2, you get some points. So my business blue cashback is like 2%, and I just automatically apply it to the bill every month. So why not get 2% rather than 0? That being said, then you're going to run your expenses in that card. Then you're going to get a credit card statement. That credit card statement is gold for your business. You're going to take 3 colors: red, green, and blue. No, red, yellow, and green. Green, you're going to highlight the expenses that you absolutely have to have and are necessary for your business. So the green lights, right? The reds are things you've spent money on that didn't produce a return. The yellows are the questionables, the ones you're watching, okay? The green, you'll have to have no matter what, right? You have to have that to run your business. So for instance, your MLS dues, okay? You've got to have that. The yellow, the questionable one, might be like a new lead generation strategy you're trying. You don't have the result yet, but if the market just like hit the brakes and you had to cut something, you could cut it. The red is going to be like, I took clients out to dinner and we spent $200 at Char or whatever. Like, you're going to cut that stuff, right? So you're going to continue to use your credit card statement as gold. All right. In tracking those expenses as well, by having them on in a single place, it's way easier for you then at tax time to just hand those over to your CPA. The other reason I like American Express is they give you a year-end snapshot and summary. So you can literally take the whole thing and say, here you go, CPA, and it's done. Now, if your business grows, it's going to get more complicated, no doubt, and you'll have a bank account as well. Again, establish it inside your LLC, but utilize those tax structures. The other is a personal corporation. You can do that as well. A lot of partnerships in our business run as a personal corporation. So I don't recommend partnerships, even though I'm in one, because if you think about it, you're just splitting commission dollars again. But if you do happen to have a partnership, you can use a personal corporation or you can use an S Corp LLC. But the PC can also be used if it's just an individual agent and you're wanting some additional protection like an S Corp has. All right. Taxes, we just talked about taxes. Utilizing the LLC is also really great because the LLC can buy your vehicle. The vehicle can also, you can also pay your insurance, right? You can also pay for your vehicle repairs. You can pay for your clothing as long as it's business related. Now, who determines that? You and your CPA. So I like golf, right? I use golf a lot for business. My business pays for my golf. So therefore my business also pays for my golf attire, my golf clubs, my golf everything. Does that make sense? And then I track at the end of the year, how much business did I get from the golf course, right? So how is that not legitimate? The IRS says, absolutely, that's illegitimate, right? One thing on taxes, get a great accountant. I use Abacus CPAs. I absolutely love them. They're super good with real estate investing as well. If you post in like the Greater Springfield board page, like who do you guys like as an accountant? Or in KW page, you're probably going to get some really terrible answers. Okay, so I would go to people who are really doing it, like really doing it, and ask who they use, and then use those same people. All right, your take home ends up being in your pre-cap period, roughly 30 to 50%. Think about that. That's like your take home, that money was capped. So if I go spend $2 and I'm keeping 50% of all the income, that means I have to earn, if I'm spending $1, I have to earn 2, right? If I earn $2, I pocket at the end of the day after taxes and everything $1, and then I go spend it, right? I'm spending $1, but it was actually the $2 that I earned. Do you all get that math there? A little tricky. It makes my stomach churn and it kind of hurts to know that I have to usually in my business right now, I have to produce $3 of gross income to have $1 to spend. Then from that $1, if I go spend it, it really hurts because then I've got to go produce 3 more to have the same dollar, right? So it's really unique form of looking at where your commission dollars go and budgeting around it. In the MREA, there is a great example of a simple budget for a real estate agent. So wonderful resource there too. Okay. Oh, look, there's a little graphic eating it up. You earn nothing because the government. All right, cool. All right, example income goal. So this is just breaking it down. So if your goal was 100 grand and B, your company dollar and royalty cap cost you 30,000, which would be high. Well, is that high? 22 and 6, 28, we're 28. And then you spent 50 and if you spent $50,000 to make 100 grand, there's something wrong with you, okay? Oh no, you spent 50,000 to make 180. No, okay, I don't know about that. I think you can spend less. But let's say you spent the 50,000, you made 180,000, average commission is 9 grand, which it's not for us. You would need 20 transactions. Does that make sense for everyone? So they took the top 3 here. If you have a net income goal of 100, they took your cap. So for us, it's 28. And then C, business expenses. It assumed 50,000 in business expenses, means you need to earn 180. I'm blowing through water bottles. I'm sorry. Again, last week I shot a real estate course on video. We filmed 34 hours of video. 34 hours of me talking to a camera and a guy on a headset just listening. It was brutal. It'll be really good. But we then divide our total needed commission by our average commission. So in our context, let's say, because you don't have to spend 50 grand to make 180. So let's say you spent 30 there. So 160 divided by 7,500. 7,500 is our average. 160 divided by 7,500. So you need 21.3 deals, right? That's a function of a lower average price. So 2 things influence your income. Number 1, the amount of money you spend and your average sales price. If you're like me, I'm polar opposites. I very rarely have like average size deals. I'm like big ass deals and then like crack houses. It's just what comes. Every once in a while, I'll get like a $250,000 house. I'm like so excited. So cool. All right. Anyway, you guys get this. So now you guys can do it yourself in your spare time when you've figured out your net income goal. 100,000 is like the most common answer ever. Someone's like, how much do you want to make in real estate? Like 100 grand. Like you and everyone else, right? I would encourage you to do the math. How much do you not only want to make, but how much do you need to make? So figure out the need first. Here are all the things I need to cover. Here's like my set budget. And then all the things I want to do. I want to take my kids to the lake 4 times this year and rent a boat each time. I want to take a trip to Hawaii. I want to whatever it is, right? Needs and wants. Add those together to get your net income goal. I want to fully fund my Roth IRA. I want to do this or that or the other. That should give you your net income goal. 28,000 for B, business expenses. I would estimate your business expenses to be roughly 20% of your GCI as an individual agent. As a team, it's way worse, but I would guess 20%, and that's gonna be like fat, like you guys are paying for stuff.
I said the expenses would be 20% of
GCI. Mm-hmm. Yep. So if we knew like, I guess you could reverse engineer it. You could just take 20% divided by your net income. You can do that, or 20% divided by net income and company dollar. But yeah, I mean, really, if you're an individual agent, your expenses typically are very low, right? You're paying in time much more than you're paying in dollars. Once you have a team and salaries and overhead and office space and all that, you start paying for more. Now, if you want office space here, I think they have some small offices that are awesome. I did that when I started, was pay for tiny office space and loved it. Got so much culture and energy from it. But yeah. So that should give you your annual transaction goal. Keep in mind the transaction goal is built off your needs and your wants, right? You could separate it and say, okay, my needs are this, build my transaction goal. Okay, my wants are this, add them together. There's my goal. That can help you kind of frame, okay, paid the mortgage this month, paid this month. You know what I mean? You can kind of build out your tracking system based on needs and wants. Any questions on this? Cool. We're daily system. I'm done. Woo! That was a lot. I only went a half hour over. You guys are lucky. Back in the day, you guys got it easy. So Ignite used to be 6 hours long. 2 teachers a day, 3 hours each.
It's supposed to be till 4.
It is. You're supposed to do your daily success systems now. So why don't we just talk instead? And then you guys can do your daily success systems. I'm supposed to be here for another half hour. And we're just gonna go through what this says. This calls it enrichments, right? Then the final hour is supposed to be for some conversations, some contacts, and handwritten notes. So first things first, did anything stand out to you guys today? Was there anything that was like, oh, yeah, that's pretty good? All of it? Damn, I'm good. Appreciate that. My ego. Massive.
I like what you said about self-mastery is the commitment to the path instead of the end result.
So true. We, and I say we as the me, I judge myself more on whether or not I achieved an end result than I do, am I on the right path? You know, I don't know if part of that's like the social media, like Facebook, Instagram stuff we see all the time, but you'd see snapshots of people's lives and then you go, oh, I'm not there. But you don't know if they're like actually really failing, right? But they just took a cool picture or whatever.
Comparison is the robber of all good feeling. I mean, you just can't compare yourself.
Yeah.
It's just a thief. Comparison's a thief.
It absolutely is. And this industry is interesting. So we actually grade ourselves year over year, right? So every year we have an award ceremony. Every year we have a new rookie of the year. We have a new top team. We have a new whatever. And January 1, all of our numbers start at 0, right? We track annual goals, and everything's annual. What's so interesting about that is we will actually lose perspective because, you know, my first year I didn't pick up until like August. So I started having deals closed. So I'm like, okay, well, I was on the right path for the first 6 months, but I wasn't even on the top down report. I hadn't even closed one deal, but I had deals under contract or I was working with clients or I had potential business, you know, and I kept questioning myself so much in that. And I do it now too, where I'm like, our team isn't where we need to be, you know, and I go internal on it, but yeah, it really is about, are we doing the right activities on the micro scale to get us to the larger stuff? You know, and the larger stuff isn't the end result. Like, I think that's what's kind of frustrating also about sales is there's never like I've made it, you know, and we all want, like, we all think there should be for some reason. And there just never is. I've never met anyone who has I've made it. I got to play golf with Rob Lowe, the owner of Prime, the other day. And we went back to his house and drank and hung out. It was a wild experience. I mean, like multi-billionaire, like the dude is loaded. And I asked him the question, I was like, you know, where did it all start? You know, and he loves talking about it. He's like, well, I had a semi truck and then I had 2. And then me and a buddy were driving the 2 trucks. And, you know, he's just a good old boy. You know, next thing I know, 5 years later, I had 5. And I'm like, oh my gosh, you went 5 years from 1 truck to 5, you know? And then like the next 10 years, he got to like 50. And then the next 10 years, he got to like 5,000, you know what I mean? And he just kind of kept talking about how growth is so slow. And even when you think you're going fast, you know, you're likely going to doubt yourself. And so my question was like, when do you stop? You know, and he was like, why would I? Like, how could I? It's like, if I stopped, what am I gonna do? He like, has like high-end racehorses, like it's classic rich guy stuff, you know? But he was like, yeah, my horse is racing down in Arkansas and I'm gonna go down there. And then I'm coming up and I teach at this meeting and I'm like, this guy's working more than ever and he's like billions in, you know? It's like, it's really interesting. His relationship with his wife is everything to him. His relationship with his kids is strong. And I'm just like, there's something cool going on here that not many people experience, and people seem to think about the experiences he has as like the arrival point. And he's like, we're just getting started. It was really neat. It was really cool. But I definitely, that's been a big awakening for me in the past few years. Yeah. What else do you guys like or have questions about or anything?
So I have a buyer with a contingency. We're
Yeah.
Looking at $1 million homes.
Hey, yeah.
Contingency is they have to sell their $1 million home to buy another $1 million.
Solid.
What do I do to make that offer stand out a little more? Because we're running into the problem now. We have a couple houses that we like, but there's multiple people involved.
So, okay, my first question is always, how nice is the home that they currently have?
It's worth 1.9 million.
Okay, but is it like outdated 1.9, like it's just big on land, or is it like,
No, it's brand new.
oh shoot? Okay, so the first thing I do in these contexts, I build a marketing package around that home. So for me, that's photo, video, and like physical material. So like a little pamphlet. It's 1.9 million. Your commission will be fat enough on it. You'll be good, right? But the headache is building it beforehand and not having the money. So that's hard to do. But I build the marketing package up front around it, and it highlights features. It's got photo, video, the whole bit. When I'm making my offer, I'm not sending a love letter. I'm sending that agent the marketing package. So if they're a Murney agent that has the listing and my buyer wants it, but we're contingent, I'm actually bringing that over to them, shaking their hand. Hey, how are you? My name's Wes. You know, I'm representing the clients we're offering on this property. I wanted to personally drop this off to you, right? So it's going to show professionalism, obviously, and the fact that it's, you know, got professional marketing materials is big. What you're trying to do is actually win the agent in that context. A lot of times luxury doesn't have, you know, 7, 8 offers. Sometimes they do. It just really depends. But a lot of times in luxury, your buyer tends to be the only buyer or one of 2. So they're just weighing 2 options. And in luxury, a lot of people buying luxury are selling luxury. So it's pretty common to have contingent offers. So I would bring the marketing package. I would meet the client or the agent on the other side directly. And if they're not willing to be met, I would just drop it off at their office. Usually I try to sneak on Facebook and find something out about them. So Bill Abbott, a good buddy of mine, we just did this to him. Well, he's a good buddy of mine now. He wasn't then, but I snuck on there. I saw that he does CrossFit and he really likes whiskey and he likes the lake. It's like, perfect. This will be easy. So I bought him a bottle of bourbon and then I bought him it's like a thing that goes over a beer can that gives it a different flavor. So like
a circle.
Yeah. Well, you know what I'm saying. So it was like one of those and then a koozie. And then I dropped that off at his office with a handwritten note that just said, Bill, thanks so much for being professional and allowing us to see the house at 123 Main Street. We're going to be offering on it. Please contact me at your earliest convenience. Wes, business card, dropped it off. Bill called me, man, what'd you do all this for? Thank you so much. I said, well, Bill, here's the deal. My offer is going to have a sale contingency in it. And I want you to know I'm going to work my absolute butt off, just like I did to win these clients a great offer and sell your home. So it worked, you know. I would also say in your specific context, if you're looking at homes that have multiple offers, it's really hard to communicate to that listing agent that your offer might be better, right? So you'd have to do something unique in your offer to get you there, like waive inspections, remove an appraisal contingency.
Yeah, ours was all cash. It's contingent on cash.
Yeah, but inspections?
I mean, I don't know. Now they'd still want an inspection. It'd be hard to talk my client out of inspection.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, the last 3 years, I think I sold 48 homes with no inspections to buyers. But it's what we had to do to get it won. Now, if you're in multiple offers, it's different. So that's where it's going to get tricky. If they're buying something that's hot or in demand, it definitely gets tricky. I would start looking, while we're looking active on market, and we're doing everything we can to be the most attractive offer. I'm trying to win the agent, first of all. But then second of all, I'm going around agents altogether and I'm direct marketing to consumers, to actual homeowners. whether or not that it's the perfect house or not. So what I would probably do is go to the CRS tax data. I would map out where they want to be, and then I would sort by home features like square footage or last appraised value, bedroom, bathrooms, and I would pull a list of those. They're likely going to be higher end people, right? So I need to send a higher end marketing piece to them. And I would just essentially build it out in like a Canva. Designs actually has something in there too, and just be very quick and to the point, right? Dear Mr. Buyer, you could insert a tag that'll drop their name in it. If they're in a trust, you need to go through that trust. You need to search it and find out who the actual homeowner is. But I'd build my list. I would then upload it into some sort of a Canva piece that explains, Tom, thank you so much for opening my letter. I represent the Callahan family. They're looking for a house just like yours, right? See what I did there, Tommy Callahan? Did anyone get that? Callahan Auto Parts?
Tommy boy.
And I'd be explaining to them the situation we're in is we have this amazing home with a photo of a home on that mailer, right? So the mailer isn't just a letter, it actually has that money shot of the home on it. We need to sell the home pictured here, right? In order to buy our next one. However, if we're really interested in a home like yours, can you give me a call at 155? And we'll see if we can, and we'll discuss potentially walking through your home, some closing line. So a call to action, a narrative, and then a call to action with the picture of the house. And then you'll probably start getting some calls on that. Now, you need that list to be really big because there's a lot of homes that are going to fit that $1 million mark, and you have no idea which home they're going to like. So the real end result of that will likely be appointments with potential sellers, right? But
How do you market out of state? Is there any way to do that? Because I have another listing that it's a bigger property, but it's in the middle of nowhere.
yeah, PropStream would be a good one.
PropStream?
Yeah, so I'm a PropStream affiliate, so I can get you a free trial on there and stuff. So PropStream is a data portal for pretty much anywhere you want to be. And you can, like CRS, pull anything you want, even like divorce lists, recent deaths, all that kind of stuff. And it mines the data and pulls it to you just like CRS does inside of the tax suite. This will pull, names and numbers. You can geofence it and you can narrow it down and all that kind of stuff too. So I can send you that. That one is paid if you want like full access, but it's not a ton of money. I think it's like $60 a month or something like that. But if it'll allow you to pull the information and market direct to them, it's worth it.
Okay.
For phone numbers, I use Skip Genie. I can get you guys a link to that if you want that too. I think I get 15% off for anyone who signs up with me. Because we built all this out for this course we're teaching, right? So I get all these discounts for these vendors. So Skip Genie is like 80 databases deep, including T-Mobile's old database. So you upload a name and address, it'll start pulling all the phone numbers associated with that name and address. So like all these people try to get off the internet. Well, it's impossible, period, number one. But number two, if you get their phone numbers, then you can direct one-to-one call or one-to-one text them, and you can get lucky with it. Just TCPA compliance becomes big in that, but you can use that too.
Would I run into any compliance with PropStream now, does it actually send out my listing?
So PropStream is going to pull your data. So it's going to pull potential buyers. Then you'll have to build that marketing piece. It's going to build you a mailing list.
Okay.
And then in Canva or I would probably do it in Canva. And then I would export that list into Excel and print it as mailing labels. And then have a nice marketing piece in Canva built, and then go ahead and just slap the label on the back, your messaging already on there, and send it. You can do it as a postcard, or you could use, let me see if I can pull up. One of my good friends owns this company. So this is who I use. So they have all kinds of this is literally they have like machines that copy handwriting. So you could use something like this if you want a personal flair to it.
This is postcards, right?
So these are postcards down here. They won't customize your postcards for you, but you could send a greeting letter like this and explain everything in there. Oh, you're on a whole different screen than I am. There we go. Oh, come on, Wes. Yeah, so we send these greeting letters and you can pick like the different envelopes and such. But $1.35 a piece includes postage. They fill it all out. It's handwritten. So it's actually like a machine that holds a blue pen. And then the machine traces at someone else's handwriting. And so it handwrites it for you and they send them to you and then you can drop them when you're ready. You can do something like that. Your key is actually going to be to find that property off market probably for your first situation. For your second one, your out of state one. This sounds stupid. Craigslist for a lot of rural stuff.
But do I run into any deal with the boards because I'm going to different states and marketing in different states?
You would have to be licensed in the state to market it as a real estate agent.
So how would I market it on Craigslist?
You can put it on Springfield's Craigslist and somebody's searching Craigslist, it's gonna show up no matter where they are.
Yeah.
So is the 1.9 in a different area?
Yeah, the 1.9 is in a different area, but my other listing is in Byron, Missouri.
Okay.
It's in the Houston School District.
Oh, cool.
It's 80 acres and it's 525,000.
Yeah, I'd be focusing on things like Craigslist. Like put yourself in the rural mindset. You know, like, a lot of those guys, like I know my family in the boot heel, they spend more time on Facebook Marketplace than like anything. You know, they might have like one like Facebook profile picture that's not them, no cover photo, their name spelled wrong, but they've done 50 transactions on Facebook Marketplace, you know.
Okay.
So I'd be looking at things like that. Direct mail out there probably wouldn't be super effective. So I'd be
Yeah, I did the
looking-
postcards
Yeah,
where you mail 100 people around you.
yeah. Yeah, I would almost be more like, get it over to like their local co-ops. You get, you know, a lot of co-ops will have like a bulletin board, you can post them on that. And out there, a lot of stuff's broker to broker too. So I'd be going straight to the brokers out in the Houston area and saying, hey, Joey, here's what I got. You know, bring someone to me. I'll pay you 3.5%, or I'll pay you 3% and $50, whatever it is, you know. Try to create some activity with the local brokers. That's the thing about rural Missouri that's really weird, like Marshfield is this way. Like the majority of the listings are controlled by 3 or 4 people. You know,
That's what we're trying to buy for my other client is in Marshall.
yeah, so, oh yeah, I can't get anything in Marshfield right now. I've got,
Very tight knit community.
Yeah.
I'm from Marshfield.
Okay.
so-
yeah, I love it. I mean, I just spent all day Saturday up there playing the golf tournament and, you know, a couple clients were with me and checked things out, but it's just small and everyone knows everyone and they don't really trust people like us rolling in and listing stuff. Even though we sell for a higher average listed sales price and less days on market and all the fun stuff, but it just is what it is. Galton Co. controls like that whole town. I can't seem to get a listing out of them, so. Yeah, it's interesting, man. It's interesting. I do have a really nice one coming up in Marshfield though. What do you need? I think it's 6,000 feet.
How many levels?
2.
Address?
Black Hawk, Gray Hawk, Luke, Black Hawk? I don't know.
Next time, let me know.
I don't know. We just did their corporately, so we'll find out.
Is it Hilltop, Luke?
I don't know. It's a bird.
Oh.
I think Gray Hawk. This is not gonna pull up anything good. Yeah, there it is. Look at that. It is Gray Hawk. Gray Hawk Loop. No, uh-oh. There you go. I know this isn't helpful for anyone else in the room. I'm sorry. There you go. Gray Hawk Loop. I also have 210 Crown Drive listed, but it's not on the market. That one's only 350, I think, though. Anyway, all right. What else you guys got? Is that helpful at all, Jeff?
Mhm.
All right, cool.
I got some stuff to look into now.
Sweet. Got 10 minutes, friends, 10 minutes. What are you guys struggling with right now? What's the pain point?
Well, I have a question about your cards.
All right.
Do you want us to fill out all the information, like the address and everything, or are we just like cold mailing?
Oh, no. So those are just like greeting cards for you to hand write to friends, family,
Okay, I didn't
people you've met. Yep.
Okay.
So you'll have to put everything on there and then just drop them off at the front desk. Haley will send them for you. Yep. They get business.
Is it weird? So I sold a property out in, or some land out in Everton, but I went to pick up the sign and actually the buyers were there.
Yeah.
And then I met them and we got to talking and like just ended up not knowing them, but knowing mutual people. Is it weird to send them?
No, not at all.
Okay,
So that's called an orphaned buyer.
okay.
So orphaned buyers are one of my favorite lead sources
Mhm.
because a lot of agents are too lazy to take the time to go research them, meet them, blah, blah, blah.
Mhm.
So whenever you transact a property and you don't represent both sides, the other client just became, it should be put in your pipeline. At least that's what I do.
That's what I was wondering.
Yeah, so particularly on investment deals, so this is like an old school tip. So like on investment deals, if you list a duplex and I bring a buyer for that duplex, that means my client has disposable income, is getting into a space or is already into a space that you might have more listings for, right? So now if you brought a listing, you brought it to my buyer and he didn't contact me, but went right through you, you get 6%, right? So this is like old school real estate. So we call those orphaned clients. Orphaned clients are amazing. Keller Williams is also amazing because it tracks every transaction that you do. And again, we full close our books monthly. So every month for your entire career, you'll be able to go back and track every transaction you ever did. So what our team does oftentimes is we'll print that out. I'll have a VA or my assistant go through and indicate whether it was a buy side or a sell side if the report doesn't show it. I think the new ones show it. The old ones don't. We'll then take that. If we had the listing, she'll scrub that address in CRS, right? To find who owns it. And then we'll mail that owner. And we typically mail them like a one-line CMA. So it's too confusing for anyone outside of the industry to read. And then we write on it, did you know your house could be worth blah, 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 if it's in similar condition from when you bought it? Would you be interested in potentially selling this home to a client? Question mark, send it. Now, two things on that. We don't say, would you be interested in selling this home to a buyer of mine or a client of mine, right? To a client. We want to see if they would have interested in selling to someone, right? So that's the question, is just probing. Now, if they call you and say, wow, for that price, oh my gosh, amazing. Yeah. Say, great. They say, do you have an agent or do you have a client that's interested? You say, I might, right? Do you mind if I come out, take a look at the property? And I can tell you if it fits any of the buyer needs for myself or my brokerage. Okay. So this is important. Authorizations to show can be shared within your brokerage. They can't be shared outside of your brokerage. Okay. So on that appointment, our goal is to get an authorization to show with them. That way we can then bring that information back, look through our own buyers list. We take some photos if we can there, or we share that authorization to show internally. That way we could potentially put a deal together, right? So now the other side of it is, again, when anybody signs something, they're more likely to sign something again, right? So your job there is to assess motivation and to get an authorization to show. They go into your follow-up pipeline. You begin following up until you get that listing. So it's a pretty common way to do things, but no one likes that orphaned list because they feel like it's stepping on toes. The one thing I would say is we never go after other KW orphans. So if I sold one of your listings and I found out you mailed one of my clients, I'd be like, it's not really in our culture, you know? Now, if it's like a mass mailing and you're mailing the entire neighborhood, cool, mail the entire neighborhood. Like if I didn't keep in touch and yeah. Well, we do it. There's other people that do it. Another team over at Murney's picked it up now and is doing it. But like mass mailing is not one-to-one like that, you know? But the orphaned client is a huge lead source.
Well, then it was Carrie brought the buyer.
Okay.
So I wouldn't probably want to.
You could probably send a note that just says, hey, it was great catching up with you.
Mhm.
You know, there's no problem there.
Okay.
If a team fails to follow up, it's on the team.
Mhm.
You know, that's,
We're probably.
we know
about it,
better.
though.
We know better, you know? Yeah. Orphan buyers and sellers are a fun one. The other one I like is in your open houses, getting a mortgage lender to go with you, and then make the mortgage lender do the follow-up. That's my favorite.
I like making them print off all your sheets.
Yep, they print off all your sheets, they show up, they sit there, you be the face and the clown for a little bit, they kind of hang out. And then afterwards, you split the follow-up. So you make the first contact, they make the second. And if they don't make the second, they're not your lender anymore. So that's always a fun one. And in doing that, we've gotten some of the best lender relationships ever. And we know that they'll hustle for our clients and work, you know.
What about VA? Are you guys on the VA list?
Like the,
So
like
I,
vetted VA.
yeah, I'm closing a VA next week. It's cool. But how do I get on the list?
You have to go through vetted VA.
Okay.
Yeah, it's literally, I mean, you can do it around here. It's not that big of a deal because we're not that close to a base,
Right.
but there's plenty of VA deals around here. With vetted VA, a lot of the referrals are coming through like Navy Federal Credit Union, stuff like that. They're hard companies to work with.
Veterans United.
Veterans United, yep.
But yeah.
And they
I
take a
close one next
huge
week.
chunk of your commission.
Well, they don't, because I'm not on there.
Oh, good, okay.
But I'm trying to get on there because they refer people to you.
Mhm.
So I mean, yeah, I think that your commission goes down to 2%, but
Yeah,
VU went from, and they just upped from 30 to 35, so.
it's pretty brutal.
But I mean, they give like, I mean, it just depends on how well you do for their buyers, but they give a lot.
It's a lot like Zillow or Op City,
right.
you know, in my opinion. So if you're really good about answering the phone, connecting and converting, awesome, go for it. I'm just not that guy, man.
I've done the opposite loopholes.
I tried and tried.
I haven't closed one yet.
I know we'd win them and we wouldn't get anywhere and just a pain in the butt. And then finally I was like, I'm tired of answering my phone Sunday at 7 PM, you know, because some guy in Bangladesh converted a buyer lead that's not really a buyer, you know. I was like, I'm done. So I cashed in on Op City, but all those referral lead sources, they're great if you work them. Like it doesn't matter what it is. Look at Mark Stewart's a great example. Like Mark works 72 sold so hard. And he has a lot of success with it, you know, but it's not for me. I'm too lazy, I guess, is my problem. I'm like, I'd rather have fun with my kids and my family and grow my business in a manner that's a little bit more conducive to me, you know. But at the same time, when I started, I would have taken business from anywhere, anytime. It did not matter, you know, so.
You said your three main were calls, Sphere, and what was the other one?
It's SOI.
Yeah.
So sphere of influence, friends and family, and then referral. So that's past client referral, vendor referral, or agent to agent referral. And then direct mail.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's how you got started?
I got started on open houses, SOI, and then vendor referral. Yeah. But I mean, at the same time, I was door knocking, I was calling, it didn't matter. Like if I didn't have business, I was like, what could I do right now to get business? You know? The thing that I underestimated was deals in multiple. So this was one of the tips that kind of changed my career, was thinking about who do I know in my life that could do deals in multiple. So not just one deal one time. So not just a home sale, but who do I know that owns a couple rental properties or would be interested in buying a couple rentals, or could I pursue a builder? Could I start holding open houses for builders who might then refer me their, you know, their retail side? So builders only sell, typically around here, they only sell the new house. They don't help the client sell their listing, right? So at the same time, most of the builders in this town are dating a real estate agent. It's kind of wild, but whatever. Nonetheless, I like to hold open houses for builders just because in the off chance that they have someone, they at least know me. And of course, their open houses are usually pretty good, you know. But yeah, I like the deals in multiple things. So a lot of my clients started with guys who, you know, were early real estate investors or learning, and then we just kind of partnered and grew their businesses faster. So I'd be trying to find deals for them, or if they found one, I'd help them vet it, you know, that kind of thing. But deals in multiple is a big one, particularly if you get plugged into Chris Locke. He gets plugged into like relocations in different companies, you know, so he's hunting who controls deals in multiple versus who's doing deals in multiple. So that's a big piece. So particularly people who have like, you know, 3 to 4 rental properties, they tend to be in that like category of they're either going to sell it all or they're going to go buy more. And so I'm looking for them. If you can win someone's rentals and their investment, you tend to win their primary residences too. So it's a long-term game on the smaller stuff to get the big stuff. But the small stuff pays the bills, man. Don't ever neglect a small transaction. You know. I think what else?
What was your 6-month click? Like you said, it was 6 months in before you got your.
Yeah, just the activities started to actually produce something. 6 months in, you know? I found the business tends to work in like 3 to 6 month cycles. So 90-day cycles, basically. So whenever I start something new, within 90 days, I should start seeing some early results. Are we getting appointments? Are we signing appointments? Do we have anything under contract? And then at 180 days or 6 months, we've had a few closings on whatever that might be, a new lead source or a new activity. So it tends to run in like 6 month cycles. Also, if you're like really focused on your lead generation, it'll take about 6 months to grow a solid pipeline of business. So you'll have to really be intentional for about 6 months of getting people in the top of that funnel, for that funnel to grow to a point where you're like, okay, I'm doing a deal a month, 2 deals a month type thing. And I don't know if it's not like a rule of thumb or anything, but it's just what my experience has been. Even as a team, like when we launch a new lead source, I have to like hold on to it for like 6 months to really determine if it's worth it, you know? So I could throw money away for 6 months and then be like, okay, finally we're done. At the same time, I could feel like I'm throwing it away for 4 months and then stuff starts happening, you know? Direct mail for me was my favorite because it's an immediate response. We send it, they call or they don't call, right? So it tends to be a little bit quicker. Same with, we do paid leads too. We do like Google leads or Facebook. And those are like, obviously they fill out a lead form, so they populate right away and you can connect with them. So we do those as well. But I still think open house is just a huge opportunity. Our team still does them. So they're a pain because they're Sundays, but you know, football season is kind of the only time I won't do them. Being transparent.
You would do during the week open houses?
So I have, yeah. Really good in walkable areas. So Roundtree, University Heights, Phelps Grove, areas where people tend to be out and about, really good. If you do them in like gated neighborhoods, those are also nice. So we did a pop-up in Highland Springs. We brought a barista in and, you know, like served drinks and invited all the neighbors to come have free coffee and see the house. And we had 100 people show up. So it's pretty cool. A lot of the gated neighborhoods charge you to do an open house too. It's a fun one. I didn't know that. So we did the barista pop-up thing and then got charged $350 for doing it. So it's cool. That's awesome.
Small price.
I was like, cool. Thanks so much. But that tends to work. So areas that tight-knit communities are walkable. Another one that would probably be good for it is like Millwood, you know, like basically like those larger golf communities where people tend to be in each other's business.
Oh, yeah. They with their golf cart over there.
Yeah. Oh, I'm telling you, man. Yeah, I mean, I live in Highland, so I was 2 blocks away from this listing, and like I could see my neighbor's carts coming. I'm like, oh geez, we're going at it. Old Chad Broderson just showed up with a bottle of vodka too, and I was like, oh, game's on. And it ended up being a great time. We sold the house there, so that's cool. Yeah, but I definitely like the creativity. During the week, I would say don't do it in like a rural area.
Right.
Because like rural is hard enough to have an open house just in general, but like it'll be absolutely dead if you're not like primetime open houses where people are being intentional to come to you, you know. Yeah. Let's see what else I did when I was starting. A lot of just dialing SOI. So a lot of people are afraid to call their friends and family. That's a pretty common one. So I used to be the PC coach in the office here too. I've been everything. I've been everywhere, man. But PC coaching was funny because people would come in and they'd be like, I want to build my business around my friends and family. And I'd be like, okay, so call them. And they're like, I can't do that. That's just crossing a line. And I'm like,
I don't like them that much. Is
I'm
that
like,
what they're saying?
yeah, I'm like, okay, so clearly you are not friends or family. So I used to be the mean PC coach, like, so I built the program, someone else took it over, and then Shannon took it over from them. But we took it from 0 to like 50 people. 47 people was our max. And it was like bringing in money. Like it was a great program. Those people were making a lot of money. But I was like, you have to call the people in your world and you have to tell them that you're a real estate agent. If you text them, they'll probably respond, great, happy for you, or something like that. And they won't think about it again. But if you call them and you say, hey, long time no talk, that's on me. I'm sorry. I just want to give you a call, let you know I'm a real estate agent. I'm getting started, but I'm at an awesome brokerage that has a ton of help and my broker's ready to rock and roll with me. Do you know anyone who wants to buy or sell real estate? And you just put it out there. Their answer might be no, but they don't care because they like you, right? We think we annoy people. We think we're interrupting people. How many times in the day do you get a phone call that you answer? Just kind of randomly, okay? All the time, like all the time. Yet we think when we call someone, we're like interrupting their day. And most of the time people are just like, oh, a phone call, cool. You know, like I had Tawny on my team. I'll pick on her a little bit. She grew up in Mount Vernon. Outside of her childhood home, they had a telephone pole with a speaker on it. And anytime the phone would ring, the speaker would like ring, right? And it was a farm town. So, but then like they would talk about how excited everyone on the farm would get. They'd all run to the house to answer it, right? And I'm like, we really haven't lost that, right? People are more attached to their phones than ever. Now, instead of on a pole at the farm that's in your pocket, right? So when that rings, people tend to answer it if it's a 417 number. Or if it's not a 417 number, by the way, just jump on Google Voice and get a free 417 number and use that. Like, super easy. I started with a 541, an Oregon number, so, and it worked. But 417, people tend to answer. It's never interrupting. If it's friends and family, hey, long time no talk. It's good to hear from you. I hope you're doing well. Purpose of my call is business today. I love you. We can talk more another time. Let's grab coffee or something. But real quick, I just want to let you know I got my real estate license. We're ready to rock and roll when you are, or if someone you know is, let me know. So simple. My business partner, Josh, it's actually how I got Josh. So I got licensed. The next week I started calling because I didn't know what to do. So I started calling. I called Josh and Josh goes, actually, yeah, I just got pre-approved last night. And I'm like, cool. Do you want to like buy a house then? Because I didn't know what pre-approved meant. So I was like, cool, like we should do this then. He's like, yeah, can you show me a house? And I'm like, yeah, absolutely. Cool, when? And he's like, how about tomorrow? And I'm like, yeah, deal. Like, I didn't know what to do, right? So then I hang up, I immediately pick up the phone and call Jim Bull, and I'm like, I have a customer, what do I do? And Jim walked me through everything. And I was like, okay. And turns out he didn't buy for 7 more months, but he ended up buying. So there's a uniqueness to it that we're afraid of it. But then when you call friends and family, they're not worried about you. They're your biggest fans, And if they're not your biggest fans, probably questioning if they're in my friend group, All right, friends, we've gone over time. Anybody got anything else? All right, I hope this was helpful. If not, let me know. You can leave me a 1-star review on Google. That'd be great. Just kidding, don't do that. 5 stars only, please. We work so hard for that. All right, my phone number is on the board. If you guys need anything, send me a text or a call. Probably won't answer your call, not gonna lie. So go ahead and send me a text. My email is simple, is weslitton@kw.com. If you email me, my assistant will be sure to respond. I'm just kidding. She's in Hawaii. Yeah, just had a baby. She's in Hawaii. She's living her best life. So I will respond eventually. I am not inbox 0. But if you guys email me, I'll be sure to help out. If there's ever anything that I can do, please don't hesitate to ask, seriously, even if it might seem silly or small to you. It is not, especially when you're getting started. So jump on there, let me know. I'm happy to help. I teach these once a quarter. We teach other classes too. I office just across the parking lot. We have 206, that whole segment there is our team. If you walk in there, it's bound to be a mess and smell like sweaty boy, but you're welcome anytime. Thanks, guys.
This is supposed to be tomorrow. What time? It's every day in
So
June,
I actually started.
Monday through Friday. except for
Started.
Juneteenth.
So I wasn't. I didn't start as a real estate agent. I
I went
started
to the one
literally
in
like just
January.
kinda
Well,
flipping
I ended up
houses.
having to
So
Zoom.
I was taking
only
my.
went to one
sorry,
or
I'm gonna
two,
get
but
out
I
of
had to
here.
Zoom on my other classes.
I started
I was
just
gone.
kind of picking up stuff.
Yeah, you can Zoom this. I even did it while I was
Way
driving.
different now. Right. Back then I was picking stuff up.
Oh, you're not gonna be, you're gonna, well, they record it too.
Okay,
So you can play it
I'll-
later, like when you get back to your
Buddy
hotel.
that
or
tomorrow
we
is at
were
this
fixing it
time.
up and I was listening for stuff out there.
Nope.
And it worked
Yeah,
okay.
it's,
It
there's a schedule.
just worked
if you
okay,
go
but
to
eventually I
the
made
Facebook
enough money
page.
selling real estate and then I kept my
You
budget
can see
short
this.
personally, so I had a lot.
I'll just be late tomorrow.
I wasn't in January either, but after I kind of went through the first one, I felt a lot better.
I use a construction.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's weird.
So, we use Old Missouri Bank here in town. They have a product where they'll take, it's 15%.
I feel like I need a
of the
locker
down payment.
or something. I was like, I'm gonna just break everything.
15% of the.
A locker would
I'm
be
gonna lose
helpful.
purchase price
things.
plus
It's just gonna be
free
bad.
this down payment.
Everything
And then I just go to a private.
Nice. Hands on dude. Oh, after that, it says the 20 sessions. If you read on.
I've blocked
That
it for
includes
13 now,
20
so
sessions,
back then it was
all
just
that,
paying
like,
money, then we'd go in and like.
But
flip
it
and
doesn't
list
say
it.
when, though, does it?
Yeah, what I'm running into right
Yeah,
now
I
is
got those.
I just got out of the military.
Oh, cool.
So if you go on the
Awesome.
Couldn't
Facebook
get
page
somehow
where you see it.
current income, but
But I didn't, dude, I couldn't go to some of them, so I watched them later. It was very helpful.
Yeah,
trying to find a sweet subject too,
yeah,
but
that's really hurtful.
that's very hard,
Yeah.
so.
Let me take a whiz, I'll be right back.
Yeah.
We can mastermind, I'll introduce you to a guy who teaches on this stuff nationally.
Hey, thank you so much.
Yeah,
It's
of
such a
course.
pleasure.
Good to meet you.
You
I've seen your
too.
name, but
I'm sorry.
I love it.
Well, I felt like I kind of came in with a bang and
Yeah.
left the last
That's
place with
good.
a bang and.
That's good. It's really good.
Yeah, I tried not to. It just happened that way, I guess. I try not to make waves.
No,
Try to
you're,
help as many people as possible, but
that's right.
I'm
Just
banging
kick butt, just kick butt and kick names and do your thing.
Kind of my personality anyway.
That's good, that's good. That's so
Thank you,
good.
though.
Of course.
Yeah, thanks for
course.
everything. I met, Dan Holt came into our company.
Oh, yeah.
Right after I started, I didn't know who he was.
Yeah.
And he came in with his RV to get it repaired.
Oh, boy, yeah.
And when he dropped it off and everything, and now the whole time, my husband's, we own a diesel shop
Yeah.
north on 13.
Okay.
And my husband was like, how do I know this Holt? We did business with Holt Quarries. I'm like, well, maybe it's from Holt Quarries. You know? Then he came in to pay for his RV and I sit up at the front at the desk and I take a check and I had to call him. I was voicemail. It's just Dan Holt from Keller Williams. I said, I just started working with Keller Williams.
Yeah,
And he
we're
goes,
there.
what?
That's awesome. So good.
Yeah, so
Welcome.
I got to meet him
Yeah.
back, but that was back in August.
He's a fun one.
Oh, yeah, he's like, him and my husband got along really well too. I was like,
Love it.
wow.
I love it.
Yeah, he's great, but I haven't seen him since.
Yeah,
I-
they have a different, their office is off-site, so his team operates just off Republic Road, but he comes in every now and
Okay,
again, mostly
yeah,
for
he had
events and
his
stuff.
team name on his
Yep.
shirt. What was it?
Home homes.
What is it? There was
Oh,
another name.
Varus.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that one. And I was like, he's like, this is my team name. And I'm like, huh? And that's when I was just getting started and I didn't know how
Yeah.
Keller Williams worked. And he explained it all to me and he said, if I need any help, just call him.
Yep.
And he was taking his RV out west somewhere. And then I thought, well, maybe he got lost because I hadn't heard from him since.
I love it, I love it. Well, thanks for coming.
Thank you.
basically mine, so I was so bad. He was the one that brought a buyer to me and convinced me to get my real estate license so that
yeah.
I didn't have to, bother with the for sale by owner thing.
Garner, I knew the last mayor of Ozark, but I didn't know Garner.
Yeah.
I didn't know that is-
Rick was a good boy.
Yeah.
All that to say though, let me get you connected with David. Holy shit.
I need to be more proactive about what going to the masterminds that thing is, because I invest in it. I should probably.
What's your number?
417-551-5615. But yeah, I should be more active about getting into the investment side of things. Because I'm just tired of it, tired of paying the rent, you know? What were you doing out in the West Coast before you?
So have you ever heard of Ryan Dossie? You know Ryan, he's been on Bigger Pockets podcast a couple times. He owns that Ballpoint Marketing Company, a company called Call Porter, and he trains wholesalers.
Okay.
So he flew me down. So David introduced us. He and I started working together. We developed a whole system inside of his company for realtors. And then he flew me down to film a training course on using direct mail for getting listings. And so 34 hours filming with his professional crew. And so when he called me, he was like, yeah, I've got a whole crew. I was like, oh, what does that mean? He's like, I just got the equipment and stuff. Come on down. I was like, okay. So I was like, I'm not saying no. So this guy's got 40,000 followers and his engagement is 96%. 96% of 40,000
That's
people
insane.
engage in his Instagram and Facebook every day.
That's insane. Yeah. I don't know how you pull that. That's crazy. That's awesome.
Anyway, sorry, I just texted you. We can all go get lunch. But so I'm like, all right, cool. I'm doing it. So I just got online, booked the trip. It was like direct flight Allegiant to Fort Walton, and then rented a car. So it was like $600. I'm there, right? I roll into this ghetto ass warehouse. And I'm like, oh shit, this is all a scam. Like I'm getting shot today, you know?
Yeah.
I roll in there. He opens the door. He's like, how's it going? It's like a Tesla, a Land Rover, a McLaren sitting out front, and like the brand new McLaren, like 380,000.
Yeah.
Like, holy shit.
That's pretty sweet.
But it's like we're in the freaking ghetto in Florida, like
Oh,
swampland ghetto, like
Mm.
mobile homes next door.
Mm.
I'm like, okay. And he opens the door, and it's a warehouse, and he's built it all out of sets,
Mhm.
and he's just got camera equipment everywhere. There's 4 people in there full time filming content and doing stuff, and I was like, holy shit, dude.
That's
So
wild.
we filmed that, and so he's gonna push that out to his following and inside of his companies
That's pretty sweet.
to basically build like a mastermind around how to do it. So should be good.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I just text Dave. For your context though, man, honestly, I think it starts with some income. Rent sucks, no doubt about it. So you need a house hack somehow. Get a roommate or